Pepperoni. Anything pepperoni. Cheese is essential, obviously with pizza, but anything meaty, pepperoni at least.
Sorry guys, I didn't know.
We're talking about essentials, you know.
Yeah.
Recommendations, essentials.
So I misplaced my son, so I was like,
Misplaced your son.
I was like, I can hear him. Where the fuck is he?
He's in the walls.
I misplaced my son.
Yes, that's a good title, isn't it?
There you go. Call it that. There you go. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Have you started?
Yeah, we literally were talking about chocolates and crap and then pizza.
You could do. You could.
It all came from topping up with water. And
You could do the intro then.
that should be the intro.
Yeah, but like tell everyone where we are, Connor. What episode is this?
1, 2, 3, 4,996. I don't know the episode number. 261. I'm just
Fucking 261.
261. I can't think of the number. I don't
208.
208.
Yeah. Episode 200. It's 4 years.
Look, I had a 6.
52 times 4.
Oh, there you go. Basic
There
maths.
you go.
Basic maths. All right. 206.
208.
208. Fuck. I told you I had 6. I had 6 on my mind.
You'll get there at some point.
I had 6 on my mind. God damn it. Yet today's the 7th at the time I'm recording,
So many numbers.
and it's number 8.
It's
so
episode 208 of Nobel Podcast, everyone. Thank you very much for continuing to listen to Connor guess what
Yeah.
fucking week it is.
No, I don't know what planet I'm on. No, I don't know.
I don't think any of us know what planet you're on, mate.
Oh.
Joined this week by returning guest, Mr. Andy Kemp is back. Thank you.
Hello, thank you for having me.
We should get canned audience applause or something. But yeah, last time you were on was like this time last year, wasn't it? Like,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yes, I remember because we recorded after I'd gone to the hospital to get my broken nose checked.
Yeah, and you sung us a song, and we talked about Kylie Minogue.
Yes, I sang you I sang Nerd Bible a happy birthday song.
Good times. Well, on Spotify. For those that don't know, Andy has his own podcast, the We Pay for Your Floor, which if you haven't given it a listen, please do. I need to, actually sort my schedule out and be on it at some point.
Pay for your floor. And pay for your floor.
It's the concept. Why the
Right,
title?
let me explain the concept of We Pay for Your Floor. And also, yes, we do need to have you on whenever you're available. We're actually recording on Sunday. If you're busy.
I go away Saturday to Saturday, so.
Ah, damn it.
Sorry, family trip to the
the
seaside.
basic concept of We Pay for Your Floor is during lockdown, well actually even before lockdown, Phil and I live in the flat below someone who has become one of our best friends, and especially during lockdown we got really, really close because we lived in the same building, which meant that we could still see each other because like we were already interacting with like a lot of the same doors and stuff like that because we live in the same flat building, so it made no sense to not see her because we were going to be like interacting with the same stuff anyway, so it made no sense. So we saw her pretty much every single day during lockdown, which is good because we were really good friends anyway. And we just kind of learned that we have a very off-the-wall sense of humour when we're together, and we developed so many on-running jokes that we decided we would start a podcast just as a way to catalogue them for us, really. Like, we don't care if anyone else listens, it's just so that we can listen back and be like, oh yeah, I remember when that happened. And the reason it's called We Pay for Your Floor is because of an on-running joke that we had, that because we rented the flat below her, without us paying for our ceiling, she wouldn't have a floor, is the basic idea.
You could look at Connor's brain trying to do the maths.
And we kind of, when we came up with that and then we had the idea for the podcast, I was like, that's the perfect name for a podcast because no one else is going to fucking take that because it's stupid. So yeah, we made We Pay for Your Floor. It is me, my partner Phil, and our close friend Sarah sitting around this table that you can't see because it's below the camera level, just having a laugh, really, coming up with stupid stuff and chatting, and it's a lot of fun to record, and it gets quite offensive quite quickly because
all the best
we have
podcasts
very
do.
dark, twisted sense of humour. And is often very stupid. There are many references to Sarah's genitals, bless her. I don't know why. you've never met a gay couple talk about their female friends' genitals as much in your life, but
Put that
here
on the
we are.
poster. 5-star. You've never heard two gay people talk about female genitals so much.
It's literally, if you ever watch it, you'll hear it. You'll be able to tell when we started a new recording session because one of us will make a reference to it, and then usually Sarah will go, "Oh, that's the first Sarah's vagina of the session," and that's always the thing. And yeah, it's
so there's no timekeeping. It's just how many times you talk about her genitals. That's how you gauge how late it is.
Structure it.
Like a really pervy sundial.
But no, it's a lot of fun. We enjoy it a lot. We always have silly games, or sometimes we have serious discussions that then devolve into stupidity because it's us. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. We enjoy it.
It's good. You're on series 2 at the
we're
minute,
on
aren't you?
We're on an unofficial break right now because the last recording session we did, which was with Mike, we had a massive problem with the audio files, which rendered them pretty much unusable. Which is a shame because the stuff we had done with Mike was really good. So we're a bit gutted that we couldn't use any of it, but we're hopefully going to get him back on soon so we can try and get him on again. Because it was a lot of fun and it'd be a shame.
Yeah, it's series 2 at the minute you're on, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I've checked out a couple, obviously, from when we started speaking about Kylie Minogue and then you started a podcast. That's, the gateway.
Good reference point, yeah.
To think, this all would not be possible without Kylie Minogue. So let's just, give a hand to Australia's princess.
I love that this entire friendship is founded on the joke of us throwing Kylie Minogue into a nuclear reactor, which,
Do you think if it ever gets to a point we'll have to, actually do it?
Yeah, we actually film
it.
Without her permission, of course, just...
Oh no! Like if we tell her that it's coming, she'll fucking get security or whatever. You know what I mean? It might just be.
That's the 5-year anniversary of Nerd Bible. It's the official. We found Kylie and threw her into a reactor. You're welcome.
And then the 6th anniversary comes from prison.
And it's just you singing "I Should Be So Lucky."
Oh, I should be so lucky. Get off, Jason. It's all about me. Neighbours is finishing. I can't go back. That's why she's not on Neighbours, everyone. That's why she's not going to be on the last episode of Neighbours. She is in a nuclear reactor, being heavily guarded by Russell T Davies and Phil Collinson with a gun. I don't know. How does the BBC work now?
It sounds like a good Who episode.
It's the new Christmas special, don't you know?
New Christmas.
Yeah, because we obviously mainly have only really had conversations about Doctor Who. Is kind of the only thing we've ever really talked about. So we thought we'd kind of. Let down the walls of
Jericho.
Yeah,
break the walls down.
And talk about obviously some other stuff because if we talk about Doctor Who too much, we just all get really angry or sad or
who am
happy.
I? Who is he? And who are you? That's eventually what it'll turn into.
So I know you are big into gaming, aren't you? Because you do stream on Twitch.
Yes.
What games are you currently playing at the moment?
What's hot on the press?
Right, at the moment, this is very much a this week thing. It took a fair few months, but I finally got the love for Elden Ring. It took a while, but I got there finally. I picked it up I think it was like a week after it came out, and I've played FromSoft games before. Bloodborne is one of my favourite games of all time.
Fucking how? That is torture.
I tried playing Dark Souls the other night. I don't know how anyone on the planet can put up with anything. I don't know how.
If you're struggling with Dark Souls, I would genuinely recommend Bloodborne as a gateway because I'm not gonna lie, the combat is quite different in the sense that you can't just hide behind a shield all the time. The game literally gives you access to one shield. It is a joke item. The item description even says basically it's shit, don't use it. Because the whole idea of Bloodborne is that you want to be really aggressive, to the point where if you lose health in Bloodborne, you get health back by attacking. As long as you're quick enough, you can restore your health by dealing damage straight back. And having played Bloodborne, I think has given me more appreciation for the Dark Souls games. Because I tried Dark Souls before and I was very on it. I was like, yeah, it's quite difficult, it's quite slow. It's just, you're kind of slogging through an area and you die so easily and then you've got to go all the way through it. But because of how aggressive Bloodborne teaches you to be, it made me like them more because it kind of shows you a fun way to play it that isn't just hiding behind a shield all the time. And with Elden Ring, the main reason it took me so long to get into it is just because the open world aspect was very daunting, because it's
I can imagine.
Fucking massive.
No, I can imagine. I mean, I forgot it was From Software. It was a From Software game, but just that idea of Dark Souls, like again, the Dark Souls concept, open world, 10 times more things to do. Yeah, it sounds like a great combination. It sounds like a great game to play while drunk. It sounds like a great time.
Because the area is so, like, the world's so big, and there's bosses everywhere, and so it kind of turned into when I first got the game, I literally played it for like 2 hours and then went, right, I'm not touching this again, because I was like, I don't know where I'm going, I don't know where all the bosses are, I don't know where to get any actually okay weapons.
I'm too young to die, damn it.
There's this big knight guy I can't even kill, like, in an early part of the game, not a boss, just like a normal enemy, but I was like, this is annoying me, I don't know where to go. And then over the weekend I was watching someone play it, and I don't know why, but something just clicked, and now I can't stop. It's all I want to do. I'm literally, as soon as we're done recording here, I'm literally booting my PlayStation back up, and I'm getting back on it, because I can't stop playing, apparently.
How far do you think you're? Do you think you're relatively far in it? Have you done like the first quarter? Are you still relatively early on, or are you? Heck, do you?
Oh, I'm still very early on. I've the current file I'm on. I've done a lot of stuff around. I've not done the first mandatory story boss yet, but I've done a lot of the stuff around the area that you can just do optionally.
Right, yeah.
So even though I've not progressed the story much, I'm already like level 30 or something. I've already done a fair bit of the combat and taken on quite a few of the bosses and stuff. So, and I've gotten some decent weapons. So yeah, because I apparently don't hate myself enough already. I was watching a video of someone doing a sorcerer playthrough last night, and I was like, oh, that looks really fun. So I'm actually tempted to start a sorcery character and play them at the same time. just hate my life even more.
No. I'm so impatient that I think I would just stick my head through my own PlayStation in just. Probably just more disappointment in myself that I can't do it, because it's one of them things that you've got to be just on it.
You do.
And unless if it's not gradual,
you generally have to be one with the living force to tolerate 5 minutes of dying in that game.
I think I played one of them, the Dark Souls, once, and I was like, no thanks. No, I'm good. Yeah. I can't. I'm not up to it. There's much better people than me that play this.
Like I say, I literally attempted it earlier this week.
Yeah, it can be a bit of a slog and a bit disheartening if you keep dying over and over. But yeah, I don't know, something just clicked, and now I'm like, oh, I just want to play this game all the time. I'm working the full day tomorrow, and I can guarantee I'm going to get home from work at like 7 o'clock, and all I'm going to do is then play Elden Ring until I go to bed.
So what is the story of Elden Ring? Because I've seen it, I'm interested in playing it, but I don't actually know what's...
I've not seen it. I honestly thought Elder Scrolls, Elden Ring. I was like, oh, is it part of the Elder Scrolls? But luckily not.
I saw everyone on it, loads of Instagram stories of people buying it the day it came out, and oh, it looks gorgeous.
I feel like Bethesda would sue them if they tried to say Elder Scrolls in the game, because wasn't there like a thing a few years ago where the CEO of Bethesda tried suing a company because they had the word Elder in a title?
Sounds about right.
I think that's the thing. Yeah.
Trademarked that because of the Elder Scrolls. It's like, you can't trademark a word.
Just watch us try. Just to announce that we've trademarked the word sheep, so all farmers are fucked.
It's very complicated, as are all FromSoft game stories, because a lot of it's just kind of hidden in lore and random bits of dialogue and item descriptions. Basically, woman becomes god of this kingdom. Woman becomes god of this kingdom, marries a great warrior who becomes the first Elden Lord.
Zeus. I'm making it up.
They have kids.
Hercules. No, sorry.
And then, in a slightly different part of the kingdom, another great warrior marries a witch. They have kids. But then he leaves that witch for the goddess, who has also left her husband. They have kids. And then then one of their kids die. She breaks the Elden Ring. It scatters all around the world. All of the children basically get a shard, and now the world's descended into chaos, and you've got to try and like collect all the fragments to get the ring back together. There's way more to it than that. That is a massively simplified version of the plot.
It sounds like The Only Way is Elden or Made in Elden. It just sounds like a weird
Well, it was partially written by George R.R. Martin.
Oh, there you go.
I'm surprised he finished it.
Yeah.
He helped with the writing along with Miyazaki, who's done all the other Dark Souls games. So it's basically Dark Souls meets Game of Thrones almost.
That does sound quite good, though.
It sounds appealing, yeah.
It's very long and convoluted.
Do loads of not unnecessary people die, and is it like really short towards the end, and the conclusion's really anticlimactic? Or oh, sorry, that's just Game of Thrones.
I'm just glad there's no like brother on sister action in this like there is in Game of Thrones.
Oh, there's no point then.
Boo! 1 star.
You fans of incest, you're not gonna like Elden Ring.
What is there in it though? One of the kids lets himself get eaten by a snake to become a god. He's a boss fight. You have to fight him, and he's like a giant world serpent thing. Very Norse mythology.
So the one from Moon Knight. What's the name? The one from Moon Knight, the snake god from Moon Knight. I don't know.
Snakey,
yeah. Snaky the snake.
What's the name of the world serpent? I can't remember now.
Alan.
Because that's like a big part
Barry.
of Norse mythology, and I can't remember for the life of me now what it's called.
Elliot.
Elliot the world serpent.
Elliot.
Elliot.
Okay, well I have the name here, but I don't know if I can say it.
Give it a go.
It's like Jormungandr, I think, something like that.
That sounds.
I'll
sounds like a Cornishman saying, "Come and have a look at this."
Yeah. It's very cool. In regard, what other games? Oh, and also like Pokemon. I play Pokemon all the damn time.
Yeah.
That's like, I'll go through a phase where I play one game like just obsessively for like a month or so, and then I'll usually come off of that a bit, and my backup is always to play a Pokemon game, and then I'll get into something else, and then I'll come back to Pokemon, and it's always my sort of go-to.
Is Pokemon Go still going, or has it gone yet? Not as in
it's
delisted
going.
from the App Store, but are there still enough people running around?
I've seen people that still play it.
Really?
There's still quite a lot of people who play it.
They've made it better, haven't they?
I played it for most of last year, and then this year I kind of fell off just because I got a bit busier. So I actually
You were going.
It was Pokemon gone.
No, but yeah, Pokemon Go still do it. They've got the next generation comes out later this year, and from the trailer it looks great. It's the first proper open world Pokemon game. Everything is open world now.
Which is,
it's
good and bad.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pro and con. It sort of loses its touch. If everything's going to become the same thing, it will become the new norm of everything. So it won't be as meaningful as it was about a decade ago, or even a few years ago.
Yeah, I think I hope if everything is going to turn open world, I just hope it doesn't turn into every single game is just going to towers and like unlocking them to unlock parts of the map, because that gets tedious. Like, I love Breath of the Wild, such a great game. I've played it so many times, but Jesus Christ, does it get boring climbing the towers all the time and unlocking the map, and it's just annoying.
All the Ubisoft games, Assassin's Creed, the viewpoints climbing up, Foxy climbing
Watch
up.
Dogs, shit like that.
Well, that's the thing. Every single thing is like, because you've got obviously Assassin's Creed. I've not played it, but I'm sure Far Cry has something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if Red Dead Redemption had stuff like that. It's just everything is doing that now.
Yeah. It's just a new
To be
standard.
fair, Elden Ring kind of has that as well, but you don't have to climb anything. You just have to find the map stones to get them, so it's not as annoying. You don't have to climb anything or fight loads of enemies to actually find the maps.
It'll be bloody FIFA next. FIFA will be open world. You have to go from stadium to stadium. You're going to have to go to the top of the stadium.
Can you imagine?
Unlock the country.
Go to Jurgen Klopp for a side mission.
Yeah.
I've lost all the footballers. Please go and find them in trees around.
That should be a game. You start as obviously you create a character, and then you have to become the greatest footballer. So I don't know anything about football, so this is going to
Start off like Sunday League and like having
game's
fights
gonna
with people at the pub.
You're gonna you leave your house, you it's open world, so you get to choose where you go. So do you go to football academy? Do you just train in your back garden? And the whole idea is that you go around, you challenge people to different football matches, because that's how the world works.
Yeah. That's how you become the greatest. You football match me.
You choose different footballs like Pokemon, and the different footballs have different elements.
I think football would be a lot more interesting if it was
100%.
played in the format of Pokemon.
Yes. Yes.
So like each like footballer has either a bigger footballer trapped in a football, or like or like a Pokemon trapped in it, and they
What? So it's like Steven Gerrard evolves into Peter Crouch, that kind of thing.
Oh, I think it would. Oh, that's quite fun to imagine. And like and David Beckham's like Mewtwo, like artificially created. He's not actually real.
Oh no.
Weird voice.
Oh, if David Beckham were to ever get Tinder, that would be his dating bio. I'm the Mewtwo of football.
Jesus.
We're wasting excellent names for this episode. Misplaced my son. I'm the Mewtwo of football. I'm trying to think of evolves now. Like, who would evolve into who? Like, you have fucking
That's the thing.
Wayne Rooney
I
would be
literally
like
list like
Diglett.
10 famous footballers, and that's it. I've never followed football. I literally know the ones that everyone else knows. Let's get it out the way though. Wayne Rooney is absolutely just like a starter, just really weak one.
He's what's the one with the skull? Like the one that wears the skulls.
Cubone.
Yeah, he's one of them.
But instead of skull, it's just a hair transplant.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's on wonky. It's round the wrong way.
Yeah.
So his fringe is just down his back. He just looks really
They give it the
grumpy.
exact same backstory as Cubone in Pokemon, when instead of his mother's skull, it's his mother's hair. He just wears it as a wig.
Chasing around local prostitutes and getting caught in the bushes.
I'd say play FIFA Pokemon.
If anyone wants to make some fan art of Wayne Rooney as a Pokemon, we'll just...
Our idea.
Oh.
I'd fucking love some of that.
But yeah, and then you have to go and battle like loads of different local teams to rank your character up, and then you get to a national level, and then
That's how you win
in
the World
end
Cup.
game, you're playing international football, and you're travelling around the world to fight different teams, and they're the bosses.
So you end up just, throwing, balls at, under like kids from underdeveloped countries. You just, throwing footballs at Africans. And just like, uh-oh.
Oh no.
Oh, that's the wrong one. That's just a normal football. Sorry, kid.
I'm sorry to hear you have malaria.
Whack. You lose.
Oh, you're gonna fit brilliantly on We Pay for Your Floor.
Oh, I'm gonna have to rein myself in, Andy. I really am. I'm gonna just
This
struggling to
is
keep.
basically the level we end up at on that all the time. Oh, I felt so bad for Phil a few months ago. We did a recording session, and I'm not going to mention what the joke was, because honestly, it probably was. It's not. I should clarify. It's nothing that would get anyone cancelled. It's just awful.
Yeah.
Is it
Dark humour.
Is it Cards Against Humanity awful?
Yes, it was horrendous. And Phil was like, I can't keep this in. I'm going to have to cut it out. Forgetting that we referred to this joke about 30 times over the next 3 episodes. So we had to cut out so much of those 3 episodes of the podcast just because the name kept coming up, and he was like, no, I can't keep that in. Especially because if one gets through without context, then everyone's just going to be like, what
the fuck are you talking
And
about?
then,
Yeah.
I don't think we've ever had that yet. But then to be fair, if we did, I'd probably just leave it in because I just can't be asked. It's probably why no one watches this anymore. Probably why the viewership's gone down. It's all the fucking horrible jokes.
Horrible jokes.
I know there was one like the other week about 9/11. I cut that because I was like, let's leave that one.
I just have a very twisted sense of humour in general. I laugh at the worst stuff because the way that I've kind of grown up is that it's the easiest way to cope with a lot of stuff is just laugh at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Does get me into trouble at work. That it's there's been a couple of times at work where I've laughed at something I probably shouldn't do. I can share those stories if you'd like.
Go for it.
So the first one, and probably the more minor one, which just completely caught me off guard, is a guy who started. For reference, I work at Costa. The guy who started at the same time as I did, we were on shift together, and we were just sort of discussing, what we did outside of where we now worked. Because I knew he was in a band. But he was saying how originally he was training to be a professional dancer. He did all sorts of different styles of dancing, which I'm quite jealous of. That's a skill I wish I had, but I'm.
How dare he have skills?
How dare he?
And he was talking. He was saying. He was saying oh yeah, I competed regionally. I did really well. I was hoping to make a career out of it. I was like, oh, why did you stop? Thinking it was just going to be oh well, I wanted to focus on my band, or just a normal legitimate reason. He went, oh, I got hit by a bus and it fucking killed me. I shouldn't have laughed. It was the way he said it, but I died.
Just the delivery.
If you've ever seen This Morning, when Holly Willoughby starts laughing and she has to cross her legs and duck down to stop herself pissing herself, that was me that day at work. I just ducked behind the counter because I was laughing so hard. And I felt awful because I laughed right in his face. And it wasn't his fault. He got hit by whatever vehicle it was, car, bus, I can't remember. But it was just so funny to me. It was the way he said it, I should clarify.
Just
not
the delivery.
The fact that he got hit by a car. It was the tone in which he said it. It was the casual way he just went, oh, I got hit by a car. It was that.
It sounds like he should be a comedian instead of a dancer. He's got an unintentional career at comedy.
Or for a dancer, he wasn't looking where he was going.
Yeah, exactly. And then, I don't mind saying that because he got fired.
Okay. That's the punchline, folks.
He literally got fired after being there for 2 months. But the other one, which was more recent, and oh my god, luckily I didn't laugh in this man's face, but my god, after it happened I had to run to the back and let it out because it was so funny to me. At least it was to me. I apologise, this is quite dark. He came in and he was wanting to... So basically, if you don't know, if you have a Costa Club card, you get free cake around your birthday. So he came in wanting to use that, and he got a coffee and ordered his cake, scanned his thing. I went to charge him and he said, oh, I've got my free cake for my birthday. I was like, oh, okay, no problem. I'll see if it's taken it off. It hadn't. So I asked him to check the app, see, have you pressed it? Are you going to use it? Have you got it eligible? That kind of thing. And he was like, oh, we checked and he didn't have it. He said, oh, well, my birthday was last week. And we're like, oh yeah, sorry. It's got to be within the week of your birthday or you don't get it. And he said, oh, I've only just had a chance to come in. I've kind of had a bit of a family bereavement. So, I haven't really been coming to Costa. It's the first chance I've had. I was like, yeah, it's no problem. I'll have another look again for you. But if it's not there, there's nothing we can do. Checked again, and we found the voucher, but it was out of date. It had gone out of date a couple of days before. So I said, my supervisor was stood next to me as well. And I went, yeah, sorry, the voucher's expired, we can't use it. And he turned round, and I'm hoping to God the man who was behind him was his friend, or he knew him. Because he turned round to the man behind him and went, oh, it's expired like my mum. And I literally just stared forward, closed my mouth, and had to suppress the biggest just cackle in my stomach. I felt it coming. I was like, I cannot laugh in this man's face. I cannot laugh. I will get fired, but this is the funniest thing a customer has ever said to me. I want to laugh so badly. So I just kind of waited patiently and was just like, I'm sorry to hear that, sort of calmed him down a bit. And then when he left, I asked my supervisor, like, can I go to the back a minute? And she went, yeah, you all right? And I said, yeah, I'm fine. I went to the back and I just pissed myself. It was so funny. It's horrendous. I know it's horrendous, but it's okay because I'm aware how bad it is, and I accept I'm a horrible human being for finding it funny.
No, we're all going to hell. It doesn't matter.
There's no Valhalla.
How do you just come out with that?
Yeah,
that's amazing.
That's a random.
I guess you got to laugh until before you cry, didn't you? Really.
I understand that he was in an emotional state. It was clearly very raw for him because he was clearly visibly upset. But at the same time, I was like, why would you say that in the middle of it?
Why bring your mother into the conversation? Why bring him into the conversation?
Oh,
I think it's more sad that, like, that happened around his birthday.
Was so funny.
Maybe she just didn't want to buy him a present. I don't know.
Well, I know his birthday is coming up. I'll just pop it now. Why not?
And then your birthday will always be associated with me. Oh, bless. If that
She's
man, I
just sat there
hope
like,
he's
well,
okay.
Rachel Riley's left Countdown. There's nothing to live for anymore.
She left Countdown?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, she did. She did.
Is it because she's, got horrible views about things, or is that just...
No, I think she Nick Hernley. I say this. Why do I know this? I don't watch Countdown. All I know is that the guy who was hosting it, who was on The Apprentice, left.
Yes.
Anne Robinson. I nearly said Anne Widdecombe. Then it's not Anne Widdecombe. She's the
Anne Robinson.
who's a complete cunt. Anne Robinson. That was it. Yeah, she took over. She's already gone.
Fucking hell.
I think her and Rachel Riley didn't get on, so Rachel Riley left. And I know they replaced her with... I can't remember her name. The only thing I know... I don't want this to sound awful, I'm not meaning for it to. All I know is that they replaced her with a black woman and people got annoyed because they were like, oh, because of course they're going to be.
Yeah,
Because people...
Middle-aged white people hate things that are different on, the show about letters. Because it's so fucking important.
Jeez, yeah,
so... How dare they? Ugh, I hate people.
They hated when Carol Vorderman left and was replaced by someone who's younger than her. It's like, what the fuck is the problem? I think, yeah.
Actually, you know what? Just this kind of piggybacks well into this, because I was going to ask while I was here. I think I know, but I can't fully remember. How are you guys feeling about Ncuti Gatwa's casting? Because I'm very happy with it.
I'm buzzed.
Absolutely fucking ecstatic.
On board, yeah.
I'm a bit upset that it's not another woman. Because I feel like that's the only thing that's sort of the loss is like we tried a woman and it didn't work. Back to the man.
Yeah, that's what that was my one thought. Because I know when it was all coming out, like, we're going to find out who the next Doctor is soon. Obviously, Tania Miller was one of the big names that kept
she would have been great.
I would have loved to have seen her. That would have been really cool. And I'm slightly disappointed that we don't have another female Doctor, because for exactly the reason you said is like, I don't want people thinking, oh well, it didn't work, like,
Yeah.
So we're not gonna do it again because it didn't work. I don't want that to be the case. But I'm very happy that we do have our first sort of main I say canon. Joe Martin is canon, but like main. But
a main Doctor, get a bit of colour, yeah. Because I think that's the only thing. Like, I would have loved for it to be Joe Martin, because that would have been obviously that's a thing that maybe Russell, to pick up on the sins of the previous showrunner is not kind of a corner you want to write yourself into.
Yeah.
But I think if anyone would have kind of looked at it and gone like, I've got a good idea for that, I thought he would kind of be the one to be like, no, fuck it, like I'll make people even more angry and they'll be happy because it's me.
I would have loved to have had Joe Martin be the actual next Doctor, because then they could have made a plot line about how she ended up as Ruth and sort of made... Because as we said we wouldn't talk about Doctor Who much because it turned into this.
And here we are.
We're here now. One of the main criticisms I have, and this is coming from someone who, for the most part, has enjoyed the era for what it is. Like, it's not been brilliant, but, it's been fine. I can watch it, and there are some episodes that I really like. I'm quite disappointed with how Chibnall seems to have kind of wanted to have his cake and eat it with the Timeless Child thing. He's like, oh, I want to put my mark on the show, so I'm going to do this massive canon-changing thing. I say canon-changing, but, like, this massive, like, revelation that I've come up with, but then I'm not going to do anything with it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like,
For me, it felt kind of like... the whole the whole John Hurt thing. It was kind of a thing of like, it changes Callum, but ultimately it doesn't really change anything
how you perceive
from your
the show.
perspective of how you've watched the show anyway.
Yeah.
And I think you're right, it's kind of a thing of if rumours are believed to be true that he's kind of not really wrapping it up, which I hope and pray that the centenary is amazing and we all kind of go, oh, in the end that was a nice 3 years of television. Let's all move on. I think with Chibnall, like, this is no like diss on him as a writer, because I know people like on the internet. It's like it's either he's a bad writer or the show's crap or Jodie's crap. I don't think it's any of those things. I think he's not a sci-fi writer. I think he is a drama writer that has, like, he can do the trappings of a science fiction program within it. I just don't think his forte is sci-fi and then making the real world exist within that, like Russell did for series 1 and so on. I think it's kind of like that. Like you say, like I don't hate the era. I think I've enjoyed it less as it's gone on, just because it's been like the refresh for series 11 was nice. I think series 12 really capitalised on it. The gaps in between the years have fucked it regardless, because every time you get momentum behind it, it just drops off again. And Flux I was kind of disappointed by, because obviously COVID's affected it to a point where it's, you've had to have less of it. But I think there's always been the potential for it to be really good, and that's what's kind of more annoying to me. Is like, you've got Jodie Whittaker, who is a fantastic actress. Like, say what you will about her as the Doctor, I think personally she is fantastic. Like every Doctor,
I love her as the Doctor.
Every Doctor is someone's Doctor.
Her
as
the Doctor is the best thing about the era for me.
Yeah, right, and I love her in it. I love Sacha Dhawan as the Master. I've loved, to a most point, the new stuff he's done with the Daleks. Yeah. I like what he did with the Cybermen.
Absolutely.
The Sontarans were okay. They look really nice.
They were fine in their episode, and everything else kind of.
I think he does the monsters really well, and to certain points, like you can see, there's glimpses in episodes where you can see Jodie's Doctor, and you've never really had an episode of like putting her, like giving her the best foot forward. I think in terms of a script. And I think for a lot of it, she was let down by the fact there was just too many people in that TARDIS. I think you got so much.
That's been a massive downside, I think, is just how...
It was a pro-Anacon.
The thing, he stuffed the TARDIS full whilst cutting down the amount of episodes per series. Without, like, a lot of the episodes don't even necessarily have longer runtime either, so...
But they do, but then they feel like they... drag for me. For me, they feel like they drag. A lot of them do drag. It's you're trying to cram so much into a series that is,
for what, if we're comparing it to most of the other New Who series, is what, at least 2 hours shorter. Pardon me. Or in Flux's case, even shorter than that. Whilst trying to introduce, in Series 11's case, a new Doctor, 3 new companions, and an overarching plot which then didn't really go anywhere. And there's just... I basically agree with everything you said, really. Like, Chibnall is a good writer. If you've seen, like, the first... I admittedly haven't seen Series 3 of Broadchurch, but if you've seen the first 2 series like I have, they're really, really good. Like, he definitely can write, but I'm just not sure... But the thing is, it's not even necessarily like that he can't do sci-fi in general, because like some of his episodes of Torchwood were really good.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird that didn't translate into Doctor Who. I will say, on the topic of Flux, I think I didn't dislike it, but I think my thoughts overall on the series are that I think it says a lot that the 2 best episodes were the 2 that were the least attached to
100%.
the overarching plot.
Sontarans and Weeping.
Village of the Angels is my personal favourite episode of the year. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's definitely up there for me. I think maybe... I don't know, because I've not rewatched her stuff in a while, so maybe Rosa or Demons is still kind of... Like, it's probably between that and Village for me.
I was going to... Villa Diodati's up there for me as well.
That's quite good.
Yeah.
I like how she switches.
Shall we do a top 5 Whittaker at the minute? Shall we do a quick top 5? We'll try and think of...
Yeah, do it.
Not in an order, but... Rosa Part 1, whatever that one's called.
I love that the first one that you've listed you don't actually know the name for.
Not the full name, look, I can't think.
That one that Bradley Walsh is in.
Called Rosa. It's just called Rosa.
The one with Captain Jack.
The one with Mr. Potato Head. The one with Woody from Toy Story. No. Haunting of
Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift.
The Daniel Craig James Bond one, Spyfall, that one. No, so Diodati, Rosa, maybe Kablam might be number 5 for me. I think Kablam
slept on a bit.
Yeah, I think Kablam Kablam. So I said about 3 or 4. I can't think of another one.
So you
Give
said
me a
top
minute.
5 and you've given us 4.
Yeah, I know, right?
Gave us 4 and only 3 of them you knew the title to. Like I love also like the fact about Doctor Who. Like I don't know if I've said this like to you, Andy, but like the fact that it just comes around again. Like it's very much like fashion. Like who would have thought we would have been excited for box sets of Colin Baker? Like if you lived through his era in the 80s, but like to us, it's like fucking justice for Colin. And I love that. You know, those that love and Jodie is their Doctor, like love her as much as they do, but there's going to be a generation that then rediscovers her on home media in 10, 15 years time that then feels like that, maybe even stronger about it. It's the fact that it's never truly shit, like it just is out of touch, or at least that's what I tell myself.
The thing is, everyone would complain about like the ratings and stuff, but then whenever it was airing, it was always the top trending thing online, so it's like people still watch it.
And the way you watch it is different now, isn't it? Like from watching Stolen Earth in 2008 is different to watching Flux. Anything's on iPlayer for like a month now instead of like, oh, you've only got 7 days. Like, oh, I better watch it now. It's like, oh, I've got time. Or like Doctor Who's on there for a year.
Yeah, exactly. The way we consume media has changed since then. For the record, just going off of, I was trying to think of just 5, and then more episodes kept coming to mind. So I'm going to do a rough top 10.
Go for it.
The only ones that are sort of set in stone are my top 2, because I know what they are. The rest are kind of interchangeable. So for me, Rose is in there. Rose is a very good episode. The thing is, I don't think Rose is necessarily a brilliant episode of like sci-fi, but in terms of the story it tells and what it does, it's great. Yeah,
absolutely.
Rose is up there. Actually, you saying that made me chuckle a little bit because I thought that'd be an unpopular opinion, but Kablam is one of my favourites. I really, really like Kablam. It's my personal favourite episode of Series 11. I think it's the best one by quite a big margin.
What ahead of Rosa or behind? So Rosa
ahead of Rosa,
yeah. That's... Okay.
So again, you've got a little bit.
So like ahead of Rosa, because we kind of said Rosa was our favourite from Series 11, and now I'd put Kablam second, but I mean, heck, comedy over time.
Kablam is easily my favourite of the series.
Okay, I might aim to give that a rewatch.
It's one of the Witch Career episodes that I have rewatched the most. Nikola Tesla I really liked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really fun. That was really fun. I know there's flaws with it, but I think Fugitive is really good.
Oh, actually,
on the whole, yeah.
That might be number 5 now.
There are flaws, but Fugitive is good. Spyfall Part 1 is really good. I don't like Part 2. I think it kind of ruins it. But Part 1 I think is really good. What else would be... Oh, crap, I'm trying to remember what else is coming to mind now. This isn't necessarily going in the top 10, but I do just want to mention it because you're probably going to wonder why it isn't there. I understand that Demons of the Punjab is an episode that a lot of people like, but I just found it really boring.
I did at the time, but then because I did a rewatch, because basically my other half hadn't seen... We started going out and she watched from like Fugitive the Jadoon onwards. So she, like the first time she came around my house, I was screaming because John Barrowman was on my telly, and she kind of was like, "What's going on here?" So then we rewatched from series I did try Hartnell, but like that wasn't working. So we did from series 1 onwards. So when I got to series 11, I sort of got a bit of a new appreciation for it. Not in terms of like I don't think it's out and out like the top. I think it's within like the upper half of her stuff. And I really do like the message. It's very much sort of trying to do the same things as Rosa, but maybe just not as polished, I think. But I still got a bit more enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, that's fair. I think for how fun it is, I think Witchfinders is quite fun.
Yes, I fucking love... That's probably my favourite of Series 11.
Okay.
Just for Alan Cumming.
You say there is actually good gems.
And then War of the Santorans, obviously, and then my absolute top 2 are Villa of Diodati and then my number 1 is Village of the Angels, like by a long shot. I think that Village of the Angels is probably the first and no, Revolution of the Daleks as well. I really, really like Revolution. I'd put that probably as my 3rd favourite. I think Revolution's really good.
Your thoughts on the recent specials? Are they special for you, or
Are they up the top? Or are they near the bottom? Have they sunk?
Eve, what is in like Eve of the Daleks and
Legend of the Sea Devils? Yeah.
Is it legendary or is it underneath the under the
Is
sea?
it a shipwreck?
Oh, Legend of the Sea Devils was crap. I really didn't enjoy it. Like
That just seemed badly edited.
Yeah. I was gutted because I was really happy the Sea Devils were coming back. So I have very vivid memories of watching the John Pertwee Sea Devils story as a kid, and I was like, "Oh, they're back! That's really cool." And
Nostalgia.
then the episode was just so bleh. It always says a lot about an episode when the best part is the next time trailer. But that's how I felt about it.
Which ironically was kind of the best part of Eve of the Daleks, was the reveal that the Sea Devils were
coming
in it.
back.
And then it was like, oh, this episode's a bit shit, but Ace is back and so's Tegan.
Yeah.
Who the first time I watched that trailer, I was like, that is Tegan.
I verbally screamed when I saw Ace. I was so happy because I love her. She's one of my all-time favourites.
Ace
so that made me so happy.
I wished we'd got that episode in Sarah Jane Adventures where she was meant to turn up. I think that would have been like the two greatest companions possibly of the classic era, if not the show as a whole, coming together on kids' TV and everyone being like, "Who's this? Who's this character?" Well, let's show you Remembrance of the Daleks and why she's an amazing badass.
Yeah.
What's your, just out of curiosity, if you had to pick one classic Who story, both of you, what would be your absolute favourite classic Who? And I'm only asking because I know for a fact mine is Curse of Fenric.
Oh, the thing with classic Who is there's so much. It's very much like a mood thing, like whatever grabs you by the day. My joke answer, as always, is Horns of Nymon.
Of course.
Get out of the room.
Look, if ever I'm in a bad mood and I watch Horns of Nymon, I'm no longer in a bad mood. I'm like, you know what? It could be worse. Look at the state of this shit. I really like the Five Doctors. Holds a lot of sentimentality for me because that's the first classic one I owned, because I bought that from the Doctor Experience when it first opened. Because I was like, I probably should get some of these classic ones, and I was like, this seems like a good place to start, and then branched off, picked my favourite Doctor. Got a lot of Colin first. I don't know whether that says a lot about me as a person. So I do like Colin. Like, it's hard because I'd sort of have to say a favourite from each Doctor. So I'd say Gunfighters.
Okay.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love the merriment and the annoying song. Tomb of the Cybermen's an obvious answer.
If you're talking Trout and
Terror of the Autons, I love for Pertwee.
Yeah.
I hate Invasion of Time. That's fucking shit.
My Pertwee choice would be the Green Death.
You bastard.
The Green Death.
The Green Death.
What else? Tom. There's
I like Mind of Evil.
Tom. Anything from him and Liz, I think you can watch and it's fucking amazing. Terror of the Zygons, I like.
Talons of Wang Chiang. Offensive as it is.
A bit problematic.
Yeah, a little bit.
Apologise after you watch it. That's what I do.
Forgive me, Father, I have sinned.
I just apologise to the TV. I'm just like, I'm so sorry you had to put that on. Robot's a bit boring, but Pyramids of Mars is great.
Hand of Fear was the first classic Who I ever watched and remember owning.
That's good.
Hand of Fear is an underrated one for me.
Which one? I always forget if it's Seeds of Death or Seeds of Doom. Which one's the Crinoids? Because that one's good.
One of them's Shout and one of them's Baker.
Thanks for clearing that up, Connor. Makes it a hell of a lot clearer.
Hey, you said Seeds.
I think it's Seeds of
Doom. Yeah, Death is Ice Warrior, Black and White Troughton. Yeah.
That sounds right.
Warrior.
It's Seeds of Doom. Yeah.
Unless we're wrong, and then it's the other way around.
Seeds of Doom. Yeah.
Would it surprise you if I said that Peter Davison I connect less with just because it's so boring? But it would have to be 8Ks of Androzani.
Earthshock.
Earthshock's good, but there's too much I think the time flight afterwards kind of diminishes it. Adric's dead. Oh well, wouldn't want us to mourn. On we go, flight with Concorde and all that shit. And it's like, okay. That's because I've tried to watch Castrovalva at least 6 times and I've yet to finish it, and I'm
you've not finished Castrovalva.
I've not finished the fucking season 19 box set, mate. I've watched Behind the Sofa and that's it. That's all I can do.
Oh no.
I like Twin Dilemma, proper ironically.
No.
Just for the quote bit. And you don't even know what it is, do you, Petty?
I like Time Lash.
Time Lash is good.
Yeah, it's not as shit as I thought it was.
Vengeance on Varos.
2 Doctors.
Revelation. That's the Colin one,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Dalek.
With the magic invisible
Yeah.
Dalek.
The DJ. Yeah.
And any of Sylvester's last season,
True.
apart from maybe like the first couple of episodes of Battlefield, they're a bit boring. But and I like Paradise Towers. Like I really like.
I do. That's.
I love how
yeah,
fun and like just John Nathan Turner's just like fuck it, just put anyone in this.
Who's in this raggedy old room?
When Ken Dodd's in what was Ken Dodd in? Delta and the Bannermen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. That's magic fucking tour bus. Oh, it's great.
Nothing beats Dragonfire episode 1. The
literal cliffhanger.
Nothing beats that.
I remember watching Ghostlight and at the end just being like, "What the fuck was that?"
Yeah,
Ghostlight is missing an episode. Like,
it is.
But I love how bonkers it is, and I love those last 3: Ghostlight, Curse of Fenric, and Survival. I think are very proto New Who, and I like a lot of people have said that, and that's nothing new. But like, I really like how that's what the show was going to be if had it carried on the next year.
Yeah.
And obviously, shout out to Paul McGann's best story is the TV movie.
Chimes of Midnight.
and his worst story is the TV movie, in equal measure.
Okay then, just question that came to mind as we were going through that then is just something that I've seen people do on Twitter as well, is if you were to rank, I don't know why I'm doing this with my hand, I'm being extremely gay right now. I've had a fan this entire time, I'm just, yeah.
You've got 2 fans right here.
What was I going to say? How would you rank, if you had to rank every series of New Who, from like worst to best, what would your ordering be? Because I think I roughly know what mine would be from the top of my head.
Do you want us to go first, or you go first?
Roughly.
I'll go first if you want.
Go for it. I feel like we talked a lot about
let's warm up.
fucking Sylvester McCoy.
So, yeah, I'll give you guys a chance. So, I'm sorry, but bottom is Series 11. It's
Yay!
in my, yeah.
Yay, same decision. Yeah. Oh, are we doing joint? Or are we just doing individual lists?
No, you do yours individually. It's fine.
Yeah. Potentially a bit of a controversial one, but then I'd put Series 2.
Whoa!
No, do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? I get it.
I understand as an adult. Yeah, I understand.
Like it's also the thing of like, as it does go around, it also does go away. Like I like Series 2 a lot because that's my gateway series, if you will. Like I watch the repeats of Series 1 on BBC 3 on the Sundays, but Series 2 was when I was all in. I had the pencil case, I had the lunchbox, I was buying the character options toys and all that shit.
Yeah.
And I have a deep connection to it, but it's not my favourite. Like it's gone as the show's gone on. It's kind of steadily floated towards the bottom of the pool because I think it's dead.
I should clarify, Series 11 is the only one that I'm like on. Like I do like Series 2, however, I've had this conversation with Will a few times. The problem with Series 2 is, at least, probably from my opinion anyway, it's the main series of New Who where it has very high highs followed by quite low lows constantly. Because I think, I don't like New Earth, I think New Earth is... I don't like it.
It's a nothing episode.
I like how it resolves Cassandra as a character, that's it. Then Tooth and Claw is alright.
I love
School
that.
Reunion is great. Girl in the Fireplace is my favourite episode of the RTD era.
Wow.
Okay, yeah.
Written by Moffat,
I adore Girl in the Fireplace. That is my favourite episode of that entire era. Then the Cybermen two-parter is fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Idiot's Lantern I really don't like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's whatever that one.
Then it's the Satan Pit two-parter, which is
Fucking
one of my
phenomenal.
favourite two-parters of the era.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Then Love and Monsters, which I'm sorry for all those people who apologise for it, but I still don't like Love and Monsters. I still don't. The only thing that Love and Monsters does for me as an episode is it gives me more Jackie Tyler, who, as I've gotten older, I have grown to love because she is just a walking meme.
Yeah.
She's a walking queen.
I fucking love Jackie Tyler. The amount of things that me and Phil say that are like lines of dialogue from her that are memes.
What's your favourite Jackie Tyler line?
We get excited for Wednesdays just because then we can be like, oh, it's Wednesday all day. That's the thing that Jackie Tyler says.
Oh, you don't meet many Eltons.
There's so many memeable things she says. And then Fear Her is.
Yeah, no
thanks.
You don't like Chloe Webber?
Ever like that episode at all. And then Army of Ghosts is fine. Doomsday is probably, again, maybe a controversial opinion. I think Doomsday is RTD's best finale.
Yeah, no. In terms of a flat out
I
finale,
agree.
I kind of get that. I think maybe Parting of the Ways kind of is still slightly above, because I feel like
I think
the
Part
first
of the Ways
Doctor
probably
era is
superior
so well rounded.
objectively, but just from the one that I enjoy more, it would be.
Oh no, yeah, I
Doomsday.
get that, yeah. But I think obviously, like, his whole thing was, the finale is always blockbuster. It can't be end of the world every week. Like, that's kind of what the finale's for. And it was, he kind of even said himself, like, with the Christmas special and like the finales, he would have to kind of top himself each year. So that was kind of the hole he wrote himself into, and that's why Stolen Earth is kind of the, like, and here's everything's fucked. Bye.
So yeah, so series 11 is bottom, then series 2, then probably Flux, just because if I think about it, there's only 2 episodes that I would like, unless I was rewatching the whole series. There's only really 2 episodes that I would happily stick on and rewatch at any point, and that is War of the Sometimes and Village of the Angels. And they are the 2 that are least connected to the story, so I think overall
Says a lot for the
it
arc.
drops
And
it a bit.
Yeah.
But again, I don't dislike Flux. Then probably series 7.
I bet Will didn't like that if you said that to him.
So again,
I bet Will wouldn't like that if you said it to him. He's a big Series 7
know.
stan.
Well, I still like Series 7. I still think there are some great episodes in Series 7. My main issue with it is just, especially the latter half, I don't think there's necessarily any dreadful episodes in Series 7. I just think there's a lot of mediocrity.
There's a lot of bang.
Especially
It's
in
bang
Part B.
average.
Yes.
Like, in 7B, it's like, even Bells of St. John, which is a Moffat episode, I think is
Bang average.
one of his weaker episodes. Like, it's still good, but it is one of his weaker ones.
It's okay. Doctor Who. It's like
there. Yeah,
you
it's
watch
there.
it, you get the point, you enjoy it, but it's not there to sort of set your world on fire.
Rocket, yeah.
I agree with that.
It's a fine episode of Doctor Who, but it's a very mediocre episode of Moffat Doctor Who. If that
Yeah,
makes
yeah,
sense.
100%.
Just
From
'cause of
especially
the
where you
standard
see
he kind of has.
how like high his standards are. Yeah, like he's capable of much better.
Yeah. I think the only episode of 7B that I objectively would say is great is Name of the Doctor. I think that's really good.
I think even that's a bit big for itself. I feel like it thinks it's doing more than it is.
Fair. I kind of
I love Crimson Horror just
honestly,
because
this is a controversial opinion. My little sort of controversial opinion about 7B is and you're probably gonna like completely disagree, and that is absolutely fine. But I will die on the hill that I love Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS.
It's the end of the episode, everyone. Thanks very much for watching. No, I think at the time I hated it. Now I don't like. I get nothing from it. If that makes sense, it's a story that in the end doesn't really exist or happen.
No.
There's no consequences before or after,
Thank
apart
goodness.
from maybe like the little we've done this before, and then she has the flashback to Journey to the Centre of the TARDIS, but only that one bit where she's like, who are you? You've died. My main issues in Series 7 lie in the fact that for 2 halves they are 2 completely different series.
They are.
Whereas
Yeah, they are.
6A and B feels
The same.
they are different enough. Like there is 2 different tones in 6, 1 and 2, but it's still, when you get to the start to the finish, it feels like more of a straight line than 7's a bit like this is
All over the place. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Amy and Rory should have left after Series 5, but that's a hill I'll die on in a video someday. But we'll get there.
Sorry, that just hurt my soul because they're my favourite companions.
They're my favourites. I love them
Yeah.
with Arthur, Karen, and Matt. I think are the best trio.
Yeah, trilogy trio.
Like
yeah.
behind it,
Absolutely agree.
behind and in front of the camera, everything I've seen of them, they are just happy people that are just amazing to work together. But the characters didn't really need to be there for Series 6, but it kind of worked, and they didn't really need to be there for Series 7, and their natural end would have been after Series 5, but obviously we wouldn't have got like Girl Who Waited and stuff like that. But I
Some
think,
good standout
but maybe if
episodes,
they'd
yeah.
have done one and done, maybe we would have been like, we had the perfect companions for 1 year, and Moffat was never going to top that. But instead, it was just kind of the show got bigger. They were loving it, and they kind of like Moffat didn't want them to leave. They didn't want to leave, and it was kind of like we just carry on.
Yeah, ride the ship until it.
To be fair, he did give us one amazing one-series companion in Bill. Like, so...
Oh,
yes.
We're really interrupting your list.
I think Bill deserved more than one series, to be
Absolutely.
Bill deserves the
fair.
world.
For the series she got, like, brilliant. But, yeah, if that doesn't spoil the fact that Series 10 is going to be really high up.
Go. Yeah, sorry, I keep interrupting your list.
But, yeah. I think I completely agree with what you said as well. Like, Series 7 does feel like two completely different ones. Because 7A, I think you've got 2 meh episodes in Dinosaurs in a Spaceship and Power of 3, but then you've also got I Will Down the Hill at Asylum of the Daleks is great, and then you've got Town of Mercy, which is really fucking good.
I really love
Town
of Mercy.
Like Angels Take Manhattan, which is really fucking good. So like, it
I
kind
love
of
Dinosaurs on a Spaceship,
really
but that's
good,
just me.
brilliant, brilliant. And then I think The Snowman's really good. But
I
then
think Snowman's one of the best
I
Christmas
agree.
specials.
Yeah, I
It's
enjoy
one of the
that
better
one.
ones, I think.
Say that again, sorry.
I think The Snowman's one of the better Christmas specials.
It's my second or third favourite. It's pretty high.
Yeah.
I think for me, I would say in terms of I love Christmas Carol, but that's kind of second because I think it's Christmas Invasion, Carol, and then Snowmen are kind of like my top 3. Like Christmas Invasion's the only one that's kind of been like it's a Christmas special and it's worked the best and everything's been trying to chase that high. But I liked what Christmas Carol did, and I really do like the Snowmen.
Nothing will ever top a Christmas Carol for me. I think that's phenomenal. I think that's just a brilliant episode of Doctor Who. Like never mind, just a great Christmas special. Possibly controversial. I will get back to the point I was on in a moment, but I also put Last Christmas really highly. I rewatched it like quite recently, and it's really, really good.
I think I need a rewatch on that because that was in the era of like Danny Pink's important, but he's kind of fuck him, he's dead now.
Yeah.
Which I think Samuel Anderson got really shafted in Series 8. Like I think if he'd have been around like for the entire, maybe not the entirety of Capaldi, but like the whole of Clara's time with him, maybe we would have felt a bit differently about him. But he was kind of a wasted character.
Fair, I agree, but as someone who is loves Clara as a character, I kind of understand why he left when he did, because his death is kind of what led to her development, and like the fact that she ended up becoming such a just balls to the wall, not caring about the consequences or anything, and I kind of like that evolution for her as a character. I've said this many times on Twitter, but the reason I love Clara as a character is because I love how flawed she is, and I love that we explore that and kind of see that, she's not a brilliant person, unlike all the other companions, and it's like, oh, you're so important, as much as I love her, it's like, oh, Donna was born to save the universe, all this kind of thing, and I love that with Clara, it was like, no, Clara's a very flawed character, and we will see that, and it gets her killed. I kind of love that.
I've got many opinions. I've had people argue with me on Twitter about Clara, and it's like, I've said because I hate getting involved in that kind of shit online because I'm not built for that.
But you're on Twitter. You are built for it. You're on Twitter.
Yeah, I feed off of the misery of fucking keyboard warrior.
The keyboard.
That's why I don't interact with many people on Doctor Who Twitter anymore, because it does get like that, and I'm
Ridiculous,
like, I'm allowed to have my opinion and let me have
Yeah.
it. Like, if someone disagrees with me, that's like brilliant. We can have a discussion about it, as long as
that's what you want, isn't it?
As long as no one sat there going, "Oh, well, you're wrong because blah blah blah." It's like,
but you can't
why?
be
What's
wrong
the
in
point?
a show with nearly 60 years worth of history.
No.
13 Doctors. Like everyone's going to have different opinions. I for one, I think Clara. I don't gel with her as a character. And a lot of people will be like, oh, because, they just come up with excuses like she's whatever the plot needs her to be. But, like, she kind of was at the time. It just felt like and she's a nanny, and now she's a teacher, and now she's just
now
kind
she's
of
impossible.
just there when the Doctor needs
I get
her.
that.
And
I get that.
she's, I was, I'm saving the Doctor in every timeline, but then that's the thing, and then I'm whatever the plot needs me to be this week. I've come round on her a bit more since I've rewatched it, but she's probably still in the bottom 3 in terms of companions that, like, I don't dislike her. and I don't like. I said flat out before, like I don't hate her as a character, and I definitely don't hate Jenna Coleman. I think she's a fabulous actress that does really well with what she's given.
Yeah,
It just
absolutely.
felt a bit like Moffat was kind of just like, and strong independent female that's just gonna be talking about kissing Jane Austen every week and stuff like that, and making the Doctor heal like you come when I call you and stuff like that, and like I wish like opinions that other people have on Doctor Who. I'm like, cool. I wish I had your
like
capacity to see it that way, but I unfortunately I don't like. And when I hear other people's opinions, sometimes if I go back and watch it and look, I might see it a bit differently if I look at it that way. But with her, I think I struggle with her most in Series 7. I think her and Capaldi are where it's at in terms of...
I was going to say, I completely agree with the point you said about them being... In Series 7, it felt like Moffat didn't know what to do with her as a character outside of her being the puzzle box, and that...
And like he'd told none of the other writers what to do with her.
That's one of the big problems I have with Series 7B, is that I don't think... Even though her and Matt are fine together, I don't think as characters they gel well, because it was Moffat just kind of went, here's the companion, she's a mystery.
We'll work it out later.
That was basically it. So then it was, and so if we were purely talking about Series 7, Clara would be low for me. It's with Capaldi where I really started to love her as a character, and I feel like she kind of came into her own because of the reasons I said before. I think they have a really interesting dynamic. I love that they kind of bring out the worst in each other in a way,
but that makes them better
really interesting
as well
to watch, because it isn't just a case of like as simple as like, oh, Ten and Donna are best friends, and I love that dynamic. It isn't as simple as, oh well, Bill's 12's mentoring Bill, and that's their dynamic. It was like Clara was bad for him, and he was bad for her, but they loved
It's an abusive relationship on screen.
In what way you want to interpret that is whatever. Some people say it was platonic, some people say it was romantic. I flip between the two, but it's like...
Oh, there's definitely elements of two, I think.
They're clearly bad for each other, but it, at least for me, makes it really interesting to watch.
Yeah,
which is kind of why I love
they
her.
can't give each other up, kind of thing, and I like that. That's kind of what ultimately leads to her fate in Series 9. Hellbent kind of undoes all the good work that fucking Face the Raven does and whatever. But
Series 9, folks. Yeah.
I think like her and Capaldi work the best.
Definitely out of the two, yeah.
And because I think, like you said, not only had Moffat not know what to do with her, but he kind of not told the other writers what she was. He's kind of just like, you just figure it, just write her in, but figure it out.
Yeah, that was kind of... I remember when I first found out that originally it was meant to... When, I think, wasn't Nightmare in Silver originally meant to be a two-parter with Victoria and Clara, because that was the original plan, and then the BBC were like, no, Clara needs to be modern, she needs to be relatable, so then Moffat had to rewrite all of it. And that's kind of annoying, because I would have loved to have had a companion that wasn't just from modern day.
Yes. I think if Victoria and Clara had travelled with the Doctor, I think I would have loved her a lot more, because she was the most interesting for me in The Snowmen.
Exactly.
And the nice surprise in Asylum of the Daleks, like, oh, she's the next one, but what's she doing here now? Like, that's kind of... They snuck that one out. But yeah, so...
I think Clara... Sorry.
No, it's just I'll say because I keep interrupting you in your points and your list, and I do apologise. I'm rambling about Clara.
It's because I can hear myself, so every now and then I'm talking, and I'm like, oh no, is someone else talking? And I realise it's me. What was I going to say? Yeah, Clara, Jenna and Matt, or I guess Clara and 11, were at their best in The Snowmen, so it's kind of annoying that that's not the dynamic we get in the rest of Series 7. But anyway, I digress. So yeah, what's the rank? Series 11, Series 2, Flux, Series 7. Then, these two are interchangeable. I go back and forth on which one's better, but Series 8 and 3 are very interchangeable to me. They're both good. But
Series 8 and 3. 8, I understand the placement, but 3, I think 3's underrated. I think 3's living good. 3's bloody
3
good.
is very good.
I know.
The latter half of Series 3, apart from Last of the Time Lords, is like top tier. Like from Human Nature up to Utopia are like a string of 10 out of 10s for me, and then Sound of Drums is also great. Last of the Time Lords just
kills it. It's a momentum killer. It's like a buzzkill, a little bit.
Yeah, Last of the Time Lords does drop the ball. However, I do like how it finishes off Martha's story. Martha's an underrated companion.
Yes,
I love Martha.
100% agree.
I like that her story ends with her kind of realising that the Doctor was a bit of a dick to her and was kind of like, no, I'm calling you out on this. You were a bit of a prick.
Yeah, like, I'll see you again,
go.
but fuck you. You need to treat people better. I hope, you just find a friend with the next one, which he ultimately does. That kind of is like a little arc for him.
Redemption.
Like, subconsciously.
Yeah.
Like, he kind of maybe looks at himself and thinks, no, you know what, I just need someone that I can get on with and just have a laugh and travel the universe, and maybe that's what brings Donna in.
I think that works really well as well, because obviously we have Martha in Series 4 as well, and it's kind of nice to see that she gets to see that he has changed and that...
And he gets to see that for her as well. Like, she's completely different, and that's, I think... God, I love Martha. Anyway.
Yeah, Martha's great. I'm really glad they brought her back in Series 4. Martha and Bill are probably the two most underrated companions of the new. I love Martha and Bill.
Yeah, Martha.
100%.
Agree with that.
So what's above 3 for you?
Well, like I said, 3 and 8 are interchangeable, because 8 is where I begin to love Clara and I love her dynamic with 12. But 8 is very hit and miss. Like, there's some episodes, like, I love. This probably is a surprising one, but I love Time Heist. That's one of my.
I think that's good.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's one of my go-to feel-good episodes. If I just want to put an episode on that I'm going to enjoy, it's Time Heist a lot of the time. And I also think Mummy and Flatline are phenomenal.
Yes, I love Mummy on the Orient Express. It could be any Doctor story.
Is really good. And then Dark Water's also brilliant. But then there's like In the Forest of the Night is dreadful. I hate it.
Don't give children their medication.
Yeah.
I will just never get over the fact that her sister was missing for 15 years in a bush like that.
Outside the house, they clearly
bush.
didn't look. They clearly didn't look, far enough.
That's such a stupid episode. But yeah, Series 8. Then, I've just realised. 12 goes in here somewhere as well. 12 is somewhere amongst this trio. I don't know, 12 might be below 3. 12 might have been below 3. I was trying to think then. 12 is definitely Whittaker's best series, or I guess Chibnall's best series.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I prefer it over 3. I don't know, I do really like 12. Those 3 are 12, 3, 8 are all very interchangeable. So that's one. I'm just trying to, right, 11, 2, flux, 2... 12, 7, 12, 3, 8. So I've got 6 series left.
You got 1.
Oh yeah.
4.
So just missing out on my top 5
Oh.
is series 1.
Oh.
Series 1 is brilliant. It's just
absolutely fantastic.
This is kind of where it comes down to less about how objectively good it is and more just
personal
my
preference.
Personal
Yeah,
feelings.
100%.
So series 1 is brilliant. It's just misses out on the top 5. In 5th, for me, is Series 9.
Okay.
Mainly just... It's... Like, I kind of understand that a lot of this does come from the fact that I love Clara, but I really like Series 9. The only episodes that I think are... Like, the Girl Who Died, Woman Who Lived, and Sleep No More are definitely the weaker episodes, but I don't think they're dreadful. I think Girl Who Died is fine, Woman Who Lived is eh. Sleep No More I can appreciate for what it was trying to do, even if it wasn't executed well. But all the rest I think are pretty great. Like, I love the Dalek 2-parter, I love the Flood 2-parter.
The Flood 2-parter is amazing.
I love the Zygon 2-parter. And then I love all 3 parts of the finale. Like, I know Hellbent is a very mixed episode in terms of how people think about it, but personally I love Hellbent. But again, I understand that probably comes down to how you feel about Clara as a companion. I really like how it ties off her arc. The only criticism I have mainly of Hellbent, because I think it's a brilliant character piece, and one of my favourite moments of the entire show is the acting between Jenna and Peter when they're in the catacombs below the Citadel.
Yeah.
And that moment, the moment where Clara finds out how long 12 was trapped in the confession dial, and when she confronts him about it, he just looks at her with like a tear in his eye and just says, "I have a duty of care." And you realise that that's a reference back to like his very first story with her.
Yeah, she cares, so I don't have to.
See the journey, and it just breaks my heart, and I love it so much. It's so good. Sorry. Oh, I love that bit. So yeah, I love Hellbent. I love that entire 3-parter. Heaven Sent is quite rightfully lauded as one of the best episodes of the show. So yeah, it's so good. So yeah, Series 9 is 5th. Okay, this is probably going to be the most controversial placement because it's not number 1, but Series 4.
Okay. No, Series 4.
Now, I used to have Series 4 in my top 2. Series 4 used to be second for me, but as time has gone on, there's just 2 other seasons that I just cannot deny I'd like more, even though Series 4 is phenomenal. Yeah, Series 4 is brilliant. 10 and Donna are such a good duo. It's definitely when I like 10 the most.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just a really good. I will say I'm not as big on the finale as everyone else, as a lot of people are. I think Journey's End is quite. It's
cheesy.
not bad. It is good, but I don't think it's like the 10 out of 10 smash hit that a lot of people seem to think it is.
It's a once in a lifetime. It's like an Avengers crossover. It's bringing all the shows together. Isn't this fun? Let's tie up the era and then go on a nice little victory tour with the specials and be done with it, kind of thing.
It's a hell of a lot of fun, but as a
story, it's fucking
in terms of the story and the plotting and everything. It is. I don't think it's the best.
Oh no, 100%. Yeah.
But third is Series 6. I love Series 6.
I love Series 6. Connor's looking at me because he knows that Series 6 is my jam.
I love Series 6.
Not to cut you off anymore, but this fucker's the reason why I ended up watching Matt Smith. Because I basically was one of these that hated Matt Smith nicking my Dr. David Tennant. I quit. And then I met him at work, and then he basically was the voice in my ear before this channel happened. It was like, watch Matt Smith, he's the most gorgeous human, you must watch him. You must watch Doctor Who. And I was like, no thanks. And we literally discussed this last episode as well, and I was like, you're telling me to watch the devil that nicked my angel from the time. Like, why would I do such a thing?
I will die on the hill that Matt Smith is the best actor to portray the Doctor in terms of
I might agree.
He raises. Oh yeah, Peter in terms of just out and out amazing talent, but in terms of what he is given, he elevates to such a level. Like the shittest episodes of the Moffat era are still so much more enjoyable because he is in them and he is looking at it going, right, there's not much to work with. Let's put this on it. I don't really like the Flesh and the Rebel Flesh 2-parter, but what he does in that with both versions of the Doctor, I think is just that's a performance that you're captivated by in whatever episode.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I don't think there's a weak. Yeah. So I was saying I don't think there's a weak Matt Smith performance. That's what I was going to say.
No,
that's what I was going to say.
No, there's not. In terms of the episodes, I used to be very meh on the Rebel Flesh 2-parter. I like it more now. Maybe I just understand it more now that I'm older, I don't know. I do like it a lot more now, and I would argue the only bad, quote-unquote, episode of Series 6 is probably Closing Time. It's
definitely the weakest. Maybe that and Curse the Black Spot for me, but apart from that,
The only good thing about Closing Time is that it has Linda Barron in it, which, rip Auntie Mabel, but...
It would have been really cool if she got to work by travelling in the spotty plane, though. That would have been a crossover.
But, the opening 2-parter is brilliant. I think Curse of the Black Spot, for what it is a lot of fun. Doctor's Wife is phenomenal. The Rebel Flesh 2-parter is fine. Good Man Goes to War is brilliant. Let's Kill Hitler I actually really like, but I understand the criticisms for it, but maybe it's just because I fucking love River. She's probably my favourite character in the entire show. And it's just River going around being River, so I kind of love it just for that. Night Terrors is fine.
I think Night Terrors is slept on.
One of my favourite ever episodes. I think it's as a character piece, and just if I was to pick one single episode where I think a companion, the actor of a companion, was just if I was to pick one episode that if someone were to ask me, oh, which episode do you think has the best performance of a companion, I would probably point to Girl Who Waited, because Karen Gillan in that is just...
And Arthur Darvill as well, I think, is fabulous in that.
And
Like,
yeah,
that
both
whole
of them are
speech
just
when he's like,
phenomenal in that episode.
I will not be like
And
you.
I also think God Complex is brilliant.
Yes.
I think God
Yeah.
Complex is really,
The
really good.
latter half of Series 6 has got some randomated gems. Yeah, I think they're... Yeah.
100%.
And then, anyway, so my second place series is Series 10. I,
Okay, yeah.
again, love Series 10.
Yeah.
The only dud for me is Eaters of Light, and even then it's serviceable. I recently rewatched the Monk trilogy, and Lie of the Land was fine. It's not brilliant, it does kind of drop the ball, because I think the first two parts are really good, but it's fine, it works. If anything, it's a nice bit of character for Bill. But apart from like Eaters of Light and kind of Lie of the Land, I think Series 10 is superb. I think every episode apart from those two are like really good top tier Doctor Who.
Yes.
And then if it wasn't obvious, Series 5 is number one for me. Series 5 is basically the perfect season in my opinion.
Yes.
I think it's phenomenal. Even the weaker episodes, Victory of the Daleks, is still fun.
I love.
Watchable. It's still very watchable,
I
yeah.
love
Yeah.
the first 20 minutes of Victory of the Daleks. Like, I think the first 20 minutes are like, this is it's a wartime bank holiday movie with the Daleks in.
Yeah.
It should have realistically been a two-parter, but I love it. I really enjoy it. That's a good list. Connor, have you?
Have I even thought about it?
There's a reason. Just to cap it off as well. There's a reason why the one tattoo I have is a quote from Series 5.
Oh, is it?
Let's see if I can bring it close enough for the webcam to pick up.
We're all stories in the end just make it a good one.
Yes.
And the
bow tie.
Yeah, that's the Pandora Opens and the Big Bang is also my favourite Doctor Who episode. Well, I guess story, but like probably my favourite episode of all time. So yeah,
I love that
adore
finale.
it.
I do love that series. Nothing,
no.
no pressure.
Yeah, no pressure, no. So
Every time he gets one wrong, Andy, you just be like, no,
one wrong.
next.
No, all right, in my defence, until I met him, I hadn't watched like a handful of these seasons.
Making the excuses
I'd watched
now.
like 1 to 5, 7B, 8, and then 6, 9, 10. Then by the time Series 11 was on, I think I'd caught up by then.
I don't know.
So
I wasn't there.
look, right, I've only watched half these episodes once, but apart from the RTD. Anyway, so bottom of the list, the shittest bit of Doctor Who, or underrated.
There you go.
Underrated,
Yeah, that's it.
Overrated.
Be more like
Yeah,
in the
Series
middle.
11, sod it. Get in the bin. I don't want it in my life. Apart from the episodes you mentioned earlier, I don't want it in my life. It has no arc, no meaningful finale. Disgusting.
Do you like how like,
Disgusting
Anna,
bit of
you were
TV.
really nice about every series? Like, there's stuff in here I like, but Connor's straight in there with,
No.
fuck this. This is bad.
No thanks. And then no, I just don't know. Series 11, I don't know what else to say. I'm not trying to be quick.
It's too vanilla, I think.
It is. It doesn't. It isn't the show that I loved before.
It's
or
a
discovered.
it's so in the middle that it hurts.
And every time I go back to it, I literally gain nothing new from it. I'm like what you pointed out earlier. When someone puts something to you in a new light, you kind of help but think differently, and you might see where others are coming from. But not with Series 11. I'm sorry, but no, you're wrong. It's horrible. And then I'd say second worst for me, Series 9. I wasn't a fan. I weren't really a
Look
fan.
at Eddie's eyes. He's
The first
he's
four.
on fire.
The 2 Dalek episodes and Under the Lake and Before the Flood.
Under the Lake and Before the Flood, I think, is one of the best
They
two-parters
were-
in the show.
Exactly, that was fine. Those 4.
Great guest cast.
The Zygon ones was, I don't know, underwhelming. The speech is epic, but I don't know.
I hate how everyone.
I don't know.
Anytime there's a threat of a war, everyone just memes that speech.
Exactly, yeah.
Like that's the only thing that's bad that's come out of the episode. Is just like everyone just do this and like just sit down and talk. It's like that's not going to work for Russia and Ukraine, but I appreciate the effort.
And then you say what you will about the finale, but I didn't hate Heaven Sent. Is a good bit of acting. It's just phenomenal. Peter Capaldi trapped in the cabinet cubicle. I don't know what the hell it was. Peter Capaldi epic. Hellbent. Clara I never hated. Clara I didn't get the hate for, but there were bits where, like you've both previously pointed, it felt like she was just whatever the script required her to be in most of the episodes. But I didn't hate what happened to Clara. But I kind of thought it was the right time to do what they did and like get rid of her essentially. But I still didn't hate Clara. I was Team Coleman.
I still vividly remember watching Face the Raven when it aired and being completely shocked that they actually killed her off. Like, I know technically, it kind of gets undone in a way, even though it's implied she's going to go back. I'm annoyed we didn't get to see her go back, but I just remember the feeling of utter shock I had when I was like, we just watched Clara die, and not even like just kind of slightly to the side. We watched her full on die, just in front of our eyes.
How is this okay?
I like how powerful the scream is silent.
How is this okay?
I like she's really the only companion, I think, unless you count River, that we've seen from birth to death, really.
Right, yeah.
Like
this is your life. Yeah, this is your life.
You saw the whole thing of the Rings of Akaten and all that, and then it's like, and here's the end, but not really, because we've got Big Finish box sets to sell for the next 4 years.
At some point, yeah.
Yeah, I think Rachel Talalay is one of the best directors in the show.
I was gonna say I'm so glad she's coming back.
Oh, it's so exciting. Do you know there's the they've done the director for the next one as well? The next special. But yeah, carry on with your list. I'll try and find. I've got it somewhere.
Okay, 11, 9. Right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8, 10, 12, and Flux. Okay, then I'd get rid of Flux. Just whatever, get rid of Flux. Okay, so they're the three I'd say I dislike or just found weak, or if anyone was drunk and was like, let's watch a bit Doctor Who. If someone picked those three, they're getting out of my flat. Get out of my house. Get out. I don't want none of these episodes on. Okay, so basically 1 to 10 minus 9 and 11 and then 12. Let's get rid of series 7 or 2. I think it's a toss between 7 and 2 for me. I think 2 was probably the most nostalgic. It was how I discovered Doctor Who, because I didn't watch Eccleston back in the day of 2005. That was more 2006, early 7 for me. But then as I've gotten older, it's just gone weaker. All the points, I'm not just trying to elaborate your points, but all of it does stick out. New Earth is a weak episode. I loved it when I was 6.
It's probably the weakest opener for a series.
It is. I think
it is. It absolutely is. I was going to say that earlier, but you kind of just did it for me then.
It is.
Yeah, out of all of New Who, I think that's the weakest season opener. I'm trying to think of them all now, and I'm like, I can't think of any that I think of.
Rose is better. Smith and Jones is better.
Yeah, Partners in Crime is
better. 11th Hour is probably the best one.
Yeah, arguably best debut. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Impossible Astronaut. Yep.
Yeah, I like. Yeah.
Asylum of the Daleks definitely.
Yeah, I like,
Deep Breath. Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah.
The Magician's Apprentice.
Yeah, I like.
The pilot, I think, is severely under fucking rated.
From what I remember,
and it's so on the nose.
Then A Woman Who Fell to Earth, which I actually think is one of the better episodes of Series 11.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think probably in Jodie's top 10-ish, I think.
Yeah.
Spyfall Part 1, which
better than Part 2.
Better than Part 2, yeah.
Great.
I still remember watching it for the first time. I still get the feeling of, holy shit, it's the Master every time I watch it. So.
One of my fondest memories of this era is, because this was around the time when I still was actually in Doctor Who Twitter, I have very vivid memories of all the people that I knew and was friends with losing their collective shit when that episode went out, just because of the shock of the Master. And I was slightly behind. I hadn't watched it as it aired. I had to watch it on Catch Up later. So I saw all these people going, holy shit! And I was like, no, I don't want to know what's happened. I don't want to know. I don't want to see. And then I finally watched it, and I finally looked on Twitter, and I was like, okay, that's why everyone lost their shit.
Yeah.
It's very good. And Halloween Apocalypse, I think that's probably the second weakest, maybe. Apart from Dan and Carvanista in that, I'm like, this episode.
I
didn't hate.
Yeah, I was very on it when it first aired. I think just because it was trying to cram so much in at once, because it was trying to set up all these different plot threads. But there are still some things I love the Swarm and Azure stuff. I think Swarm. They had so much potential in the first half of Flux. I really liked Swarm and Azure for the first 3 episodes. Maybe even the first 4, because I thought Azure was really good in Village. And then in the last 2, they just kind of
went, oh yeah, we must defeat them now in these next 2 hours.
it was really annoying because I thought finally Chibnall had written himself a monster that was going to be like really good and like actually stand up to some of the creations of every other showrunner, and then it was just kind of
Here
But
again,
anyway, sorry,
Chris.
continue.
I've forgotten whatever you're saying.
Two.
Yeah, who are you?
Who am I? Two. Yeah, series 2. It's most nostalgic, but I think it is definitely, as I've gotten older, it's just it doesn't stick out. The rest, series 3 was probably one. If I was like 7, I'd put series 3 near the bottom, but I just think it's one of the better ones. I can't not shit on season 3 now, especially between 2 and 3. The comparisons are unreal. It's
3's definitely better.
It's a
than
full-on
2.
360. It's a full-on 360. If I was a kid, I'd be like, no, series 2 is great. Rose is fit. Oh, she's so good. Whereas like 3, it's like, no, it's the stories.
I think because like series 2 is second album syndrome, like in the biggest way possible, and it's still at that point. Like I don't think you hit your stride
until the first
with with Russell T Davies' era until like series 4, when it's like everyone knows their jobs. Everyone knows what they're doing. The writers are on point. David's on point. The production team are all in unison and singing from the same hymn sheet. Let's make like one of the most consistent things. I love, like you said, series 3 from Human Nature onwards.
Yeah.
Like I love that, and I think that's severely underappreciated by a lot of the fandom. But you're still at that point. That's series 3 is when it's starting to get its shit together. Because series 1, it was like, oh, we're kind of just guessing and throwing stuff at the wall when it's working. We've got to kind of do that again, but we've got a different guy, and we've got to kind of how's he going to work as a Doctor? And then he's kind of hitting his stride. And then Freema's great, but I think she was maybe slightly, not good enough at the time. In terms of some of her acting delivery is a bit weak, but I still, I love series 3 is probably one of my favourite RTD series.
Smith and Jones is my favourite RTD series opener. I think Smith and Jones is really good. Honestly, the only thing that I think Series 3 doesn't do as well as Series 2 is the finale. I think Doomsday is massively superior to Last of the Time Lords. Apart from that, I'd give it to Series 3 pretty much.
Yeah, I think Series 3's finale goes on a bit too long.
Yeah.
There's too much of, I think if Utopia... Yeah. I know it's not, it's like a stealth 3-parter, but, if it had been a bit more separate and then gone into Sound of Drums Last of the Time Lords, then maybe it would have felt a bit more of a complete finale. In terms of we've done all this for 2 episodes, and we've kind of the title up and the Master's dead. Leave a ring for next time. Bye.
That's it. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
What's above that?
I'd say 7. I think I'd say Series 7. I think, like Andy said, I think A overall better than B. There's Asylum I don't hate. Dinosaurs, Town Called Mercy, and Power of 3 are all kind of meh. I mean, Western. What's the Western one? Town Called Mercy I quite like. It's quite stylistic. It's different, and that one stands out for me. But Angels Take Manhattan, what a way to send out arguably the 2 best in the trio of Amy and Rory. I think it was great, and it still sticks with me. And that was, I've only watched these episodes maybe once, and it really overdue for a rewatch. But it still sticks with me. And I never knew what happened to Amy and Rory, so when I did watch 7B when it aired in 2013, one of the things was, what happened to the ginger woman and the boyfriend? I was like, what happened to the couple in the TARDIS? What happened? And when I did, all those years later, find out what happened because of this bastard, it must have changed me as a person. I was genuinely crushed. I was crushed.
You've not been to New York since, have you?
No, I've never been. I've never been, sadly. But no, genuinely 7A, the ending with Amy and Rory, just great. But then what happens afterwards to 7B, it's anyone's guess. And it didn't feel like a finale because then it just led into the 50th. So it just kind of left a whatever impression for me on 7B. So yeah, I guess that's that. Then I would maybe say 8, Series 8. I think there's a couple standout ones, a couple ones I don't remember as such, ones that I've only seen once, but yeah, Series 8 I think is fine. I think the Peter Capaldi and Clara pairing's better than Smith and Clara, as we've gone over. There's not really much to kind of complain about. Missy, very nice welcome addition as well.
I fucking love Missy so much.
I love Michelle Gomez.
Don't get me talking about Missy because I will go on an hour rant about just how brilliant I think she is.
I think she's great. I think it's just like I don't feel like she's always like she's not always written as the master. It's kind of like Missy's very much a separate character from the rest of them, which I think is fine. But also you kind of got to have that through element. Like she feels the least connected to the rest of her incarnations, which then kind of gets addressed really by Wild Enough and Time Dr. Falls. So you kind of...
I was literally about to say, I feel like that's kind of the point by the end, though, because obviously they then bring the John Sim Master back to kind of have that dichotomy of this is what she was and this is who she is now, and that's why. I mean, would you guys agree if I said, because Pandora Problems and The Big Bang is my favourite finale, but I would not argue with anyone who said that World Enough in Time and Dr. Falls is the best finale. I think...
I think, yeah, in terms of like thematically, I do think that is probably on par with that, if not maybe slightly better. Like, in terms of, like, that's Moffat going for, like, this is it, this is my last one. Like, as far as I know at this point, I'm not doing a Christmas special, so I'm just, like, going for it. I'm giving Peter the send-off he deserves, and I think that should have been the end of the 12th Doctor.
Yeah.
I also love that he kept it kind of small scale.
Yeah,
it's like you're so used to these massive world-ending finales, and in this case, it was literally just the Doctor wanted to save one ship.
Yeah,
and I kind
not
of
even one
that.
ship, just like one lot of kids.
It's a brilliant culmination of Missy and the Master, but like their character, because who else better to kill the Master than the Master?
It feels very
that feels like that feels like such a Master thing to do.
Yeah,
to
it does feel very Master.
Kill each other because they don't like what the other became. Like it feels like such a Master thing. I completely agree with your point, but I also would argue that it almost plays in Moffat's favour of having understood the character amazingly well, because you can... If you watch all three series together, you realise that that's kind of where he was heading anyway, so it was kind of on purpose.
Yeah.
I
think a lot of my issues with the character are reprieved by the end of his tenure. But I think, was that all planned or was that by luck? We'll never know, but that's, there's no fault on Michelle Gomez regardless, because I think her performances in every single appearance are phenomenal, and she's just always having fun, always giving 110%.
Yeah.
Like whether it's just murdering someone that, it looks like he had kids. Just the nonchalant way she delivers some lines is like great. And even like the nice little character, like even which is familiar when she like briefly talks about her daughter and then like is just interrupted, and like that's like a sweet moment for Missy, and that's just kind of like away from that now, but you're kind of like, no, I want to see more of that. That's
give me more.
So that was that night? Is that 8 you did?
Yeah, it was 8. Yeah. Because I mentioned Missy. That was it. 8. So that's basically 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. 12.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Yes. Then I will say 12, I think. Series 12, down there, I think. It's not peak Doctor Who, it's not with the rest of the era currently with Whittaker. Like, it's definitely my personal favourite, and I just think overall best. I think in terms of bringing the audience back and engagement, and at least some, at that time, interest back, I think definitely did the job, and still sticks with me. So Series 12 is, rightfully where it is. And then I'd say above that, Series 10, I think. Series 10 just above 12. Series 10 worked, I think. You had a thing about that trilogy in the middle, the Monk trilogy.
It kind of, for me, it takes the momentum out a little bit, and it maybe never recovers from that fully. But
right, yeah.
Because I think it starts off so well, and then the Monk trilogy happens, and then by the end of that, you're kind of a bit like, it's just... I've lost a bit in it, and then it's kind of like playing catch up for the rest of the series. But then the finale's so great that it's it's still a great series regardless from start to finish. Like I love Series 10. It's the best Capaldi series.
Yeah,
it's probably in the top 3 for me at least. Moffat series, I'd say like 5, 6, and 10. I think are his best.
Right.
Agreed.
And
1, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I love Bill. I think Bill. We needed more Bill. More Bill. And Nardol's such a nice surprise, because like when he was in that Christmas special, it's kind of like, it's just let's have Matt Lucas in it, and it's like they brought him back, but it gave him a purpose as a character. Nardole was actually a nice character to have around, not just for the Doctor, but for Bill, for the audience, it kind of just that three kind of worked really nicely.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how when Nardole was first made a character, it's not a character I would have thought about bringing back. But now that he's been back, I can't really see Series 10 without him. I feel like he's such an integral part of that dynamic.
No,
I really like the moment in the pilot where like, oh, it's bigger on the inside, and they're like, oh, we got there, and then they shake hands and have a bit of a giggle and that, because they've clearly had a bit of a history since like he's putting back together and that, and it's quite nice. He's almost the sensible one, which is weird for Matt Lucas to play, but it's quite nice.
It's quite nice for him to play the straight man in a way, as opposed to being like the comedian all the time.
Yeah, and he gets those comedic beats still, but it's more of a
dramatic.
He grounds the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally and metaphorically, in terms of like you got to stay at the university, but he's like, he brings him back down to a level where it's like, all right, you've got to kind of, sort this out, think your way through it.
If anything, weirdly, I feel like Missy kind of becomes the comic relief character.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not in a way that detracts from her character really either.
Oh no, not at all. But like a lot of the funniest moments of the series are attributed to her, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But anyway, so Series 10, and then...
so we've got 1, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Unsurprisingly, folks, in case you haven't figured out what the best bit Doctor is. Okay, so... Let's put Series 5.
Wow.
Let's put Series 5
Get out.
at number 5.
Get out.
No.
Disgusting.
Then I'm going to put Series 6 above 5. Is that forgivable? I mean, as
Slightly.
soon as I rewatch it, 6 might be down at the bottom. It might be horrible. I don't know.
It's fucking amazing.
Series 6 had such an impact on me. I mean, I am using your story as an excuse, but I literally was going into it as like, this is the reason why I didn't watch this show. Why on earth am I doing this? But then I genuinely was just in awe, and what I've actually missed, because I'd seen like the snowmen, I'd seen Clara's first story in the Dalek one in Series 7. I'd seen various bits, but Series 6 is the only season
You completely missed.
I completely missed. So
Wow.
that, again, that was like, what a fucking season to miss. I mean, what a bit of the show to miss, really.
Yeah.
But Series 6, again, has had an impact on me. I'll rewatch in 6 months. I'll be like, no, Connor, stop chatting rubbish. Like, Series 6 ain't
It's
that
Flux.
good.
Flux is the best.
Yeah, Flux clearly was Series 6 all along. No, but Series 6 had such a personal impact on me. I literally had to sit there and just go, wow, like, I actually feel bad for missing a season of a show.
It's the best looking, I think, in terms of the way it's shot. The cinematography in that.
Oh,
ridiculous.
The Series 6 is stunning.
It's ridiculous.
And it's got great directors. Like Toby Haynes he did 5 episodes back to back of straight good looking bangers, like Pandora Cropan's Big Bang, A Christmas Carol, Possible Astronaut, Day of the Moon. Like they're all amazing.
It's kind of surprising when you look at like one of the big selling points of like the Whittaker era was meant to be like, oh, it looks stunning, like the colours are so bright and the worlds look so like amazing. And it's not that I necessarily disagree. I think it does look stunning. However, there's definitely flaws with it that I think make it look worse than it has before. Like, I know it's one that everyone brings up, but the lens flares. The fucking lens flares.
The weird grainy filter on the cameras.
Yeah.
It's less. Man? It's more style over substance, because like if you look at like a shot of Siri, I don't know if you saw, it was like a tweet like a while ago. It was the shot comparisons of like Yaz to Bill, in terms of like someone like two people with very similar skin tones from, not that far apart in terms of when it was made, and like the colours and the crispness of Series 10 just looked a lot better in terms of it just kind of looked a bit out of focus in like Series 11, 12, and it's kind of like, did someone fall asleep at the camera, or
is it just out of focus?
Vaseline on the lens, or I don't know.
Oh.
I'd love how because Series 6 is when it's global, and it's
that's
like,
what I mean.
Here's the height of it, and then it was kind of this slight drop off afterwards, isn't it?
I think that's one of the reasons I'm so nostalgic for 6 as well, is because that was the time when Doctor Who was like at its biggest here around David Tennant, but it's like a global thing. It was definitely like Series 6 was when the show massively went global, and that was a really cool time to. So, because obviously I think we're all the same age, aren't we? I think we're all like similar age.
26.
I'm not 26, but yeah, 24. Yeah. 24.
I turned 26 like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we're the same. You're too young.
Yeah, sorry, yeah.
We're
but, like,
back in
that was,
our
like, a
day of
really-
Doctor Who, dear boy.
That was like a really cool time to be online, because obviously that was like as the internet was really becoming a thing. It was when Twitter was really becoming a thing. So like being in an online space around that time, you couldn't really go anywhere without Doctor Who, Sherlock, and Supernatural being everywhere. And
Yeah,
granted,
like,
I don't really
yeah,
watch Supernatural, but like it was everywhere around that time. So it was a really sort of cool, nostalgic era to grow up in, I guess, as a Doctor Who fan, because it was everywhere.
Yeah, and everyone was talking about it, no matter like if it was just like at school or in the street or like you say online. And I think we never really got that again until like the 50th kind of gave us a sort of a bit of an updraft, because you couldn't move for like merchandise. Like you had Brian Cox talking about it like on his special, and that you had so many shows and toys and things dedicated to Doctor Who in that space. That it hasn't really been like that for a while, and it's a big ask, but I think we're gonna kind of get maybe towards that again, especially like maybe like not within the first year, but I think after Shooty's first series, I think we're going to be on the trajectory again. Because the thing I love about Russell, not just in terms of his writing, but is in terms of a showrunner, he just promotes the show, which I think is the main thing that's been missing, is someone that openly talks about it.
Agree. It's why I hate when people have a go at him saying he's overshadowing Jodie, but like, oh, well, she's not gone yet. Why are we getting all of this content? Why is he trying to steal the spotlight? He's not. They're just not promoting the show at all.
And even he's gone out of his way to openly, like when he was on the One Show the other day, like, but they're talking about, oh, can we get anything out of you for the 60th? He's like, but there's a 90-minute special coming out in like autumn that you've got to look forward to, that I just saw the final cut of, and it's amazing. Even he's doing more promoting the Whittaker era than the current marketing team are. And just because
that's been such a big problem of this era, is just how little they've seemed to have bothered to actually promote it. Because I liked the promotional stuff they did around Flux, with like the whole like the sighting of the Sontaran ship over Liverpool, and it was like, you could call this phone number.
Where is the Doctor thing?
I got quite excited when I got an answer machine from the Doctor, but it was like that was literally 2 weeks before the series started. Before then, we had nothing. And I just, and
even the gaps between the specials as well. Like, I think Chibnall's taken the wrong thing from Broadchurch into it, as in like play your cards close to your chest all the time. You've got to, like Russell said, you've got to, keep stuff back so that people watch it, but you've also got to get people to watch it in the first place. You've got to like entice people to come and.
It's kind of the opposite of what happened with Moffat, because by the end of... And I understand a lot of this wasn't down to Moffat himself, it was down to the BBC, but, like, they overshared stuff at the end of Moffat's theory. It was like, oh, John Sims coming back.
But that was a leak from a press night, though. They'd asked the press not to put that, and then they immediately posted it, and so then they got like, well, we've kind of got to announce it. And I think that's genuinely gutting, because I think that as a surprise would have been great. But like you say, like, it's kind of... Russell's the balance of, tease... but also leave stuff back, whereas Moffat was, here's everything that's happening, and Chibnall was like, no, you can't have a look at this. Like, we don't have a date, we don't have an exact date or title for the centenary special. We've had nothing in terms of promoting it from the social media outside of it for months. We had a big gap between Eve and Legend before they started promoting it, and then suddenly it was like, and then 2 weeks later it was on.
Doctor Who's on, stay indoors.
And yet, look at all the stuff we already know about. Like, Russell T Davies' return, we already know who the Doctor... Well, we know about the new Doctor, we know that David and Catherine are back, we know about Yasmin, I can't remember her last name, Finney?
Yes.
Yeah.
We know about Yasmin Finney as the companion, at least for those 3 specials, if not with Shooty.
That would be great if she's with the series.
That Neil Patrick Harris is going to be in it as a villain. I hope he's the Celestial Toymaker.
I really hope
so. Fingers crossed.
But like it's gonna be. We already know so much about the Russell T Davies' return,
and we're still
and
far
it's really
away.
exciting. I'm getting hyped just talking about it. But then you think about Centenary, and I'm like, oh well, we've heard literally fuck all since the trailer from Legend of the Sea Devils, and that was nearly 3 months ago.
Yeah,
ridiculous.
That's mad,
ridiculous.
Isn't it, really?
Yeah, stupid.
But we'll get on to the future once Connor finishes his list.
Sorry. Continue.
No, don't.
That's all right. We're all just... I think, when we just start talking about Doctor Who, just prepare. We could go anywhere. We're all people that go off on tangents.
It's funny because I genuinely want to also... Because I haven't seen the late... I haven't watched the latest episode of Nerd Bible yet, and I know you talked about it, so I wanted to ask your thoughts on Kenobi as well before I went. So we'll get to that
Yes.
in a bit.
Oh, hello there.
Because I want to know.
Hello there.
Ray.
I don't look like Alec Guinness yet.
Ray. I think purely because of a couple episodes, I'm going to put Series 3 at third. I think the ones are the
That's
middle,
respectable.
42, Lazarus Experiment.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's the thing. I rewatched them a couple years back, and they're all solid. Series 3
But
I
average.
wouldn't put this high.
Mm.
But yeah, they're average. They are unfairly average.
Yeah.
But like,
It's because the rest of it's so good that you
series.
notice them ones.
I actually think 42's pretty good. Like, I think it's kind of underrated.
I think out of those
personally
three, yeah,
like
it's
it.
just-
Lazarus, Lazarus is.
Do you know
Whatever.
the thing
And
that
I'm not
pisses me off the most about
too
42
keen on the Daleks
is the
who
timing
pass there
thing.
either.
Yeah, the time.
It's like they cut back, like it's, you know, the whole point of it is like it's meant to be in time with the countdown. Like we got 42 minutes and like go from the title scene, like we're into it. But then it cuts back to the timer like at 3 or 4 different points in the episode, and it's clear that, you know, it's not lining up anymore. So don't make a point of it if you're not going to kind of follow
Commit
the
to
structure.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, commit.
But the character, like I think the guest characters are great.
Yes, it kind of suffers in the way that Mummy on the Orient Express succeeds, because in Mummy, when they had a specific time constraint, they showed the timer constantly. Like, every time the Mummy appeared, the timer started, and everything happened in real time, and within 66 seconds, the person was dead.
Yes, I love that.
Like, that was a really good use of a specific time slot, whereas in 42, they kind of dropped the ball because as egregious as it would have been, I almost feel like it would have worked better having a timer on screen for that episode that did count down closer and closer. Even though it might have been annoying to have a great big fucking clock just slapped on screen, I think it almost kind of would have worked. It would have added more stakes to it because you could look at the timer and go, oh god, they've got 10 minutes.
Yeah, instead of cutting back and it noticeably being like, well, it's been about 10 minutes and it's gone down about 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and I think like any Graham Harper episode I'll watch because, you know, it's just that man just oozes Doctor Who out of his very pores.
Yeah.
He's great. So 3 third.
And then that's the thing, all these 3 are really interchangeable, but then I'm going to put Series 1 second, I think. And then the only episodes that sort of puts it back, I mean, weakest of the bunch, as we said previously, is Boomtown. I think Boomtown and
it's weak,
even the
but
Long Game.
Yeah, and the thing is, they're weak, but they're still,
Still
above
solid.
average, I think.
Exactly, above average, of course.
I'd say Long Game's the weakest.
Yep.
But I kind of think Boomtown's quite underrated.
Yeah, considering he wrote it because he had no money.
The two-parter is
Yeah.
But I think Boomtown 1 does a good job like developing them as a species, but also has some really good scenes. Like the I know everyone goes on about it, but the restaurant scene between Eccleston and
Annette Badland,
who plays Margaret, like that's such a good scene. So I enjoy Boomtown. I think it's quite underrated.
Yeah.
It also gave me and Phil one of our absolute favourite memes from Doctor Who that we quote all the time. I must have told you, George, the story about the icy patch.
Yes. I've heard this.
Yeah.
I don't remember what episode we've been on that was, but I've definitely heard you talk about it. It's probably when I was first on the podcast, I think you talked about it.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, I think Boomtown's quite underrated, but I do also understand that it is weaker in comparison to some of the really
considering
good
they've run out of
61.
budget and it was just an episode we need to replace it with, the fact that Russell wrote it over a weekend and he came up with such a great character piece.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I think, you know, it's great. Yeah, I think, Long Game definitely the weakest, but still the weakest episode in that series is probably better than a lot of maybe good episodes in other series, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that means number 1 is obviously
Series 4. Series no medal, but, you know, better than bronze in this case. Series Platinum, Series 4. I just think, most nostalgic. The show's hit its prime, as we've said previously. Ten and Donna is just probably. I mean, I am slowly doing a Russell rewatch, but I just can't wait to get to Catherine Tate and David, because obviously not only because they're coming back, because we know about that as well, but I can't wait, especially to rewatch that and knowing that we're going to get more of it in the future. It's just. I don't know.
They just have such good chemistry.
They do.
Tennant and Tate, just such a good duo. Like, even outside of Doctor Who, because after Doctor Who they did so many things together, and they just work exceptionally well together, and that shows. Like, you can just tell they're having fun being with each other, and that makes it all the better.
Yeah. Everything clicked, came authentic, and just apart.
It's the golden years, I think.
I'm trying to think of any episodes that do stick out not to the weak ones because
I think Doctor's Daughter for me.
Doctor's Daughter and
Because I really like Unicorn and the Wasp, despite by the person it's written by.
Yeah. Nothing about the problem with Unicorn and Wasp.
Yeah, it's a shame that Gareth Roberts is a massive prick, because Unicorn and the Wasp was one of my go-to like feel-good episodes. I think it's just such a fun time, and it annoys me who he is as a person.
Yes.
Silence of the Library and Forest of the Dead I always got scared of because I just didn't like skeletons in spacesuits. I don't know what it was. I just couldn't watch it for years. And then when I did watch it, it is one of the deeper. And like for you, Andy, River. Like without that episode, no River. So, then that led to a whole.
Oh, River.
That just led to a whole onslaught of crazy after that. So again, that's quite an important standout 2-part story. And then just again, what we said about the finale. The MCU prototype of Avengers before the Avengers, but kind
Avengers
of around
before
the same
Avengers.
time as the MCU. Yeah, exactly. Avengers before Avengers, and just it is
Back
what it
before
is.
John Barrowman was rubbing his penis on people's shoulders that we knew about.
Exactly, before we knew about. But no, I don't know. Everything that we said about it is just what it is, and Series 4 just is always going to be up there.
It's a great end of era series, I think.
Yeah.
If you compared 4 straight to 10, I think 4 would be.
Yeah.
In terms of these are it's got things that were mentioned throughout the era. It closes off a lot of things, but obviously the majority of that's done by the specials. But in kind of that ilk, it's kind of a good closing point for a lot of the stories of these characters.
Yeah,
and I do really enjoy it.
And my 11-year-old life, because after that I was done with Doctor Who. I would close that book for many years until I met this bastard. It all changed. I was done.
You keep blaming me, but you decided to watch it again, so.
No, but literally because you were the one that was going on about it. You were the only voice in my head at that time. Where
that's the first conversation we ever had when we met each other was about Doctor Who. I don't even know how, and then it was like, you should just try Matt Smith, and he was like, no.
I remember working at retail. I was on the checkouts, on the tills, and then he said something about Doctor Who, and I was like, "Oh God, no! Like, why would I ever do that again? Why do I want to go back to that traumatic past of my childhood? I'm an adult now. I'm earning money. Why do I want to do such a thing?" And then I, for whatever reason, I did. And then I must.
You're welcome.
I regret it.
Doctor Who brings people together. That's how me and Phil met.
Yeah, it did bring us. It did. It brought that bit of my childhood, which was traumatic. That then
once I knew that I could make him watch Doctor Who, I knew I could make him watch anything.
And
thus the podcast was born.
Pretty much.
See, it all comes full circle for 4 years. I'll quickly shoot through my list because a lot. You guys have said is basically the points I've made. I'd say weakest, just in terms of thematic, like number of episodes thematically. There's only 2 I enjoyed of the whole series, and that's Flux.
Not swearing at you.
I'd say
the camera. Sorry.
I'd say then, unfortunately, 11 is just above that because I think it's a palate cleanser after a palate cleanser because Series 10 was kind of a palate cleanser, but in a way where there was still familiar stuff, and it was like, here's a jumping on point for the show, and it was weird having those 2 series one after the other, and Series 11 is just so vanilla and has a really bad finale. There's some obviously gems in there, like we said.
Yeah.
I don't even think really bad sums up how awful that episode is.
Ridiculously bad.
There was a shot on. I think it was. I don't know if it's Mr. TARDIS that does it. It's like the perfect Doctor Who shots or whatever. And it was from Battle of Ranskorav Kolos, and it was this weird like red beam thing in the sky. And I was like, I really don't remember that in the episode. No. That looks cool. That looks like from a different. Looks like from a Star Wars movie or something. It's great.
Yeah.
And then I'd say, just to piss Will off, I'll put Series 7 there.
Oh.
And I'll tag him in it. I think, like we said, 2 different series. A, definitely stronger than B for me. I do like elements of B, like Crimson Horror, I think is my favourite in that bunch. Name of the Doctor is good, but is kind of not cleared up until... Not even really cleared up in the anniversary either.
It's like a finale that isn't a finale, because then it leads into a second part.
Because, Name of the Doctor, Day of the Doctor, and Time of the Doctor are kind of like a 3-parter in a way. They're kind of like
a really long story.
Yeah, they're like a trilogy.
Yeah. A really long one episode. Yeah.
But I love Matt Smith and he's my guy. But I think Series 8 after that, just because that's the Peter Capaldi one. I'm the most detached from. I do like it, like we said. I like Kim and Clara are the best in that. it's unfortunate I've had kind of two Clara series like right next to each other, but I promise Series 9 will be a little bit higher. I think Series 8 has just got too many ones where I rewatched it and I was kind of just like, this is not engaging me. I'm not interested. I like some elements of this, but a lot of it I'm just kind of like Flatline and Mummy on the Orient Express, out and out I love. I enjoy for the most part Deep Breath, but then in between that I'm kind of just like, this is okay. I'm not really missing much.
Yeah.
8. I'd say. I'd say actually no. I'd put 2 below 8 and 7. So I'd bump them up.
Okay.
So I'd go 2, 7, 8, and then I want to say 12, but I think it deserves a little bit more justice. What have I got left? 10, 12,
10, 12,
9.
6, 5.
What? Yeah, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 12.
I'll say
9.
I'll say 12, just because it's like we said, best Jodie era series. A lot more higher quality episodes and returning villains help with that. Like Villa Diodotti is, like you said, amazing. And then I'd say 9 above that. It's the strongest of Clara and the Doctor. For me, it's still, there's some bits in the middle where you kind of lose it, but that's, if you'd have asked me this a couple of years ago, I would have said Series 9 would have been bottom of the pile, like out and out, but I've come round on it a bit more.
I think I probably will. If you ask me in a year's time, my order will probably be different as well. But yeah,
1, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm on, right? That's yeah.
Yeah.
So then I would say
10 as well.
And
10.
I'd say 10 as well.
10. Oh fuck. I'd say 10 maybe then just misses out on the top 5. Like we said, like it's best Capaldi. It's got the best Moffat finale probably, and some great episodes. The Monk trilogy just derails it a little bit for me in the middle, but by the end of it, you're kind of still like I was refreshed with Doctor Who in this series. I was kind of, by the end of this series, I was kind of like, I enjoyed that. Let's see where we go, and then it kind of, we made the first Doctor sexist, and let's wait a year. And that was kind of like, oh, that's it's unfortunate, but I think personal preference wise, I think then maybe series. Actually, no. Series 4 misses out on the top 5. 10 is 5th.
Okay.
Series 4 is great, but I think there's just 5 series I like better, and it's great, and it's such high quality, and it's peak Russell, but personal enjoyment. I mean, like you said, Annie, I'm in personal enjoyment territory now, and I think it would have to be number 4. Would have to be Series 1. Like really strong, consistent series. Weak episodes are still great. Eccleston has the best arc tenure of a Doctor. It's complete. It has a beginning, a middle, and an end. You see his growth. And Rose
fantastic.
probably works at her best in this series. I think
Yes.
just as a personal preference, I think
Yeah.
this is where I warm to her the most, because a lot of the time it's just like bitchy girlfriend level thing with Tennant, and it's like the way she has her fucking face on when this Sarah Jane suggests Mickey goes with them in school reunion. It's like, fuck off. Like, you used to love this man. Why are you so pissed
Rose
off?
was at her best in Series 1. The only point where I would disagree is I actually think my personal favourite episodes for Rose is the Satan Pit 2-parter. I think she's
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
brilliant in that too.
Satan Pit is probably one of my favourite 2-parters of the whole thing. Like, I do agree that is probably where she's at her best. But I think as
But
an overall...
outside of that 2-parter, I think she's better in Series 1.
Yes, 100%. And then, the top 3 are quite interchangeable.
Yeah.
So I think
1, 3, and 5.
if you ask me, you're asking me right now, 3rd is Series 5.
Okay.
Like, I love it. It's arguably the perfect season. Like, in terms of the obvious quality, the writing, it's got the best opener. It's got some of the best post-regeneration stuff we've seen. It's where I sort of love the show at a whole new level, because I was a David Tennant fanboy. I was sad when he announced he was leaving, but Matt Smith proved to me that Like, what are you worried about? Anyone can play this part. Stop fucking crying. Just get up,
Change is
get up,
good,
get
yeah,
up,
change is
and
good.
get on with it and watch it. And I love Series 5 for that. I think River is at her best still in this, because the more we learn about River, the less interesting she becomes as a character. Not to damp on Alex Kingston's performance, because her and Matt Smith, I think, are just 10 out of 10 every story they're in together. And I do kind of like when she comes back for Husband's a River Song as well. Like, I think as a character she's nice and comforting, but like she's at her best for me in Series 5. And then I'd say, this is hard, because my favourite Russell series might have to come second, so I'd have to say Series 3 second. I think it's so strong. I've loved it. Martha's an underrated companion. We've said all this. There's some great bangers from the second half of the season onwards. The finale, yes, does maybe fumble the ball across the line. Like, that last part is a bit sort of like, there's some corners that we've cut there, but John Sim's great. The arc's nice. I like how Martha leaves. I like that the Doctor doesn't even realise that he's been a twat for 13 weeks.
Yep.
And he's kind of like, you know, even like the way he's in like Sound of the Drums, he's like, oh, you know, when you fancy someone and like they have no idea you exist. And it's kind of like he's in that moment when she's telling him all this, that he's kind of like, oh, I need to be better, and it sets him off on the journey for him to become what he is in Series 4, and ultimately
Victorious.
Yes, yeah, sets him on the path for like the end of his tenure, really, and it gives him sort of a reality check, which I love about her. And I love when she returns. I love Freeman. I love her in Tortured. Like, bring Freeman Rajman back to play off against Shooty. That would be great.
I would love if they brought Freeman back. I know there's heavy rumours that I think Katie Manning might be back, which I would be delighted if Joe came back,
yeah.
but I would love for him
William
to bring
Russell.
Freeman back.
Oh, why not? Just a years.
Just a few. Freema for me, when there were rumours about companions coming back in the end of the Chibnall era, was like, that's one that I think deserves a bit more. Like, we've seen Barrowman, like, he's, you know, Captain Jack's immortal and that, and you're never really gonna, as long as, I think, you know, I mean, it's a bit more difficult now, but like, I don't think the BBC would ever be against bringing Captain Jack back in some capacity, because I think it's a bankable thing of like, it's a popular character. He had his own show. Yeah. John Barrowman at present is still popular with the audience. If he apologised, I think he could have like avoided this whole thing, but you know, that's by the by. But just don't ever bring back Noel Clarke, you know.
No.
And don't watch his Channel 4 documentary, for fuck's sake. So I'd say Series 6 is top, and that would probably make Will very happy and compensate for where Series 7 is. But
Series 6 is pretty top tier.
Personal enjoyment for me level, I think, is with that, because I have such a... And I think the split format works best for that one, because you kind of had Doctor Who all year. You had April for 7 weeks, and then you came back in October for another 6, and then it was a couple-week break, and then it was Christmas. And then it was kind of nice, because it left you in a place where, where's this cliffhanger going to go? It kind of ultimately gets ignored in Let's Kill Hitler, but Night Terrors, God Complex, Girl Who Waited are some of my favourite episodes of the show. Matt Smith is my favourite Doctor. He's my guy. So I'd say at the moment Series 6. But what are you excited about? I know you've briefly spoke about, but the future. Let's ignore the centenary, because the marketing team has. What's the kind of...
It hasn't happened.
What's the kind of one thing maybe that either has been announced or something that hasn't yet, that you kind of look forward to or hope gets addressed in some way in RTD2?
Since they've managed to bring David Tennant back, and given the plot that they seem to be going with him, and some of the press things that got... Well, I say press photos, not officially from the show, but just like paparazzi photos that came out. If Matt came back, I would cry from just sheer joy. Kind of same boat as George. Matt is my favourite Doctor. He is my Doctor, and if he were to come back, I would be so happy. I would cry from just utter joy. I love him, and if they somehow brought Amy back as well, then that'd just add to it, because kind of same as what George said earlier, like that team of 11, Amy and Rory, was my all-time favourite TARDIS team. I guess that's kind of where my nostalgia comes into it, but I just adore that TARDIS team, and if for some way they got them back, even just for an episode, I would be
just for one
so
or a
happy.
scene. I'd be happy with a scene.
An extended cameo.
I'd like. Do you believe the rumours that it's kind of going to be a Doctor possibly every special, or like David through the whole run? Like I'd kind of love if it went like you got, because for me when they said like about David being in it, and before it was like it's kind of an in between, maybe reverse regeneration thing. If you'd have just looked at it thematically, Russell's kind of looking at it like, I need to get the most eyes on this, the most like in terms of the most audience appeal across, you know, mums, dads, kids, and that, and people that grew up watching it. David would be the obvious choice in terms of a get the general audience in. I don't think he's against working with the. Unfortunately, we probably won't get Chris, which I think is the only sort of negative, because I think he's going to go nowhere near that production team at this moment in time.
I think a lot of Chris's problem seems to be more personal with like Russell, because
Russell, Phil, and Julie, I think, are the ones that he's got the problem with, isn't he? Like they didn't address obviously things we now know that happened on set that maybe, you know, he was right to call them out on, but and it's unfortunate that we kind of, unless it's under a different showrunnership, we probably won't get Chris back anytime soon. But I would love, like you say, Matt. I'd love Peter as well, because I think Peter I think the Doctor's written by other people, so like you benefit off
challenge, It'll be a challenge. Like you say, it'll be a benefit.
Like
it'll be a good,
the way Stephen wrote David was completely different to how Russell writes him.
Exactly.
But him writing him 5 years after he left, and like it worked. Like it felt like the Doctor, but it was a different thing of like, oh, this is a bit different and a bit, you know, fun.
I love the idea, because we know they're doing 3 specials before the next series, and obviously one of them's the 60th. I do kind of love the idea of the first special being with David, and then he becomes 11 again, and then for the 60th he's either he's 12 in the 60th, or somehow it's like all 3. Just it'd be a really cool way to like celebrate that era of the show by having those 3 Doctors back.
Yeah.
Especially, and obviously we'll have just come off of Jodie as well, and then we go into like complete fresh slate with series 14 with Shooty, and then either Yasmin Finney, if she is the main companion for that series,
will be fantastic. I hope she is.
Is it actually confirmed if she's the companion for series 14? Or
I don't know if she's confirmed as 14. I think she's confirmed to be Rose in the 60th specials bracket. So I hope because that would kind of be it'd kind of be a nice thing to have, like, you know, your favourite companion when you were a kid has had a kid and now she's travelling with the Doctor. That's kind of...
That's something that hasn't been done before.
And then you don't really have to, not bother, but you kind of... The family aspect you already get because you've already been there. I love that Bernard Cribbins is in it.
That's such a Russell T Davies thing to do as well. I feel like if any showrunner was to do that, it would be Russell, because his era was so family oriented.
Human.
And we're getting more Bernard Cribbins, like however brief it would be.
I know! Oh, I'm so glad Will's back.
Nostalgic,
it's gonna be so good.
One more go, Wilf. Let's have... And like Sylvia, I'm Neil Patrick Harris intrigues me. I think,
of course,
all signs point to Celestial Toymaker.
Please.
The fact that they've managed to get such a big named star in it as well, like not even just like a big star over here, but like in like a huge.
Just in terms of global TV appeal, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a name. He is a name.
If you say to the general audience, like sitting at home, like, new Doctor Who special, it's got David Tennant's come back, and we've got Neil Patrick Harris in it as the villain. Like, a lot of people go, I'm gonna tune in and watch that.
Yeah.
Like, even as like a mega fan of the show, when that announcement came out, I was on the phone to Phil and I went, "How the fuck have they managed to get Neil Patrick Harris?"
But he worked with him in This Is Sin, didn't he?
Casting deal.
How I Met Your Toymaker. How I Met Your Master.
Oh, I quite like How I Met Your Master. That's funny.
I hope he's a toy maker. I really do.
It'd be cool.
I hope because I know there's probably going to be more surprises in the other specials. The rumour is, I think that the first one is either because they were filming Christmas stuff, but it was like, why would you film a Christmas special for Christmas 2023 this early? So, like, if it's a Christmas 2022 one, fantastic. There's rumours that it'll be New Year's Day 23, which I'm also fine for, because we're getting 3 amazing stories by Russell, hopefully. The director for the second one, they posted on Instagram, it might be the second one, might be the third, but it's basically the next one they're shooting now is called Chanya Button.
Okay.
Basically, they put on Instagram, when Russell T Davies offers you a ticket to the Hooniverse, there's only one answer: yes, please. And that was the first day of filming was the 30th of June, and so we'll see. I'm not familiar with their work, so
I'm not. No.
I hope there's another. I kind of would have liked if it was like you had, because you've got Rachel Talalay, which is amazing, like one of the best directors of the show. If you'd kind of, would he have been cheesy enough to have a director from each era,
Yeah.
like in it,
That'd be cool.
written by like him? Like it would have been even more on the nose if one written by him, one written by Stephen, one written by Chris.
Yeah.
The Chris one probably letting the side down,
I-
but
Yeah, well, yeah, to be honest. Yeah.
Speaking of things that we hope to happen, I don't think it will, but given that they are still clearly very close friends, if Russell was somehow able to convince Moffat to just write an episode, again, I would be so happy.
oh yeah, because I think, Russell always said he was done, but you're never truly as a creative person in that industry. Like he's probably had ideas about Doctor Who for like 10 years, and
Cooking in his brain vessels for years. Yeah.
and I'm not excited that the guy who wrote Doctor Who's back. I'm excited that the writer that Russell's become is coming back to do it. Like Cucumber, Banana, It's a Sin, Years and Years, all the messages that he has put throughout his work. Russell's angry and he's writing Doctor Who again. And I mean, he's already toppled the government before he started. But I can't wait to see people that were like, oh, it's not going to be political anymore. It's like, fucking, did you watch
No, it's going
Aliens
to be
of
the
London?
most political it's ever been.
Did you
Also,
watch Aliens
I
of
love
London
that people
killed Tony
act like
Blair?
Doctor Who wasn't political before Chibnall. Like, even just looking at New Who, we had Russell writing the first 4 series, who was
Prime Minister
openly
gets
gay
killed, who
man,
looks like Tony
who
Blair.
we had Captain Jack, who was like an openly queer character, and then actually just thinking about it, then Russell era was actually surprisingly straight in terms of the characters, but then like you've got Moffat's era, which has the first ever on-screen same-sex kiss in Doctor Who between Vastra and Jenny. You've got Clara, who's a canon bisexual companion. You've got Bill, who's a canon lesbian companion. Like, the Moffat era was surprisingly gay, thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, which is no bad thing, because you need more. Because the fact that people get
Exactly.
the fact that people get annoyed at this kind of stuff is like the universe is infinite, and unquantifiable for how big the universe and landscape is. So in a fictional universe, obviously, it's going to be more than people that are straight, white, and men. Like there's more than that out there.
Sorry to disappoint. Yeah.
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 And yeah. Sorry.
It's really. I'm so happy that he's back, and I'm glad that he's gonna. I know this is gonna sound a bit like nasty, but I'm kind of glad that he's probably gonna piss off all those people who.
Yeah. Because all the people.
I'm happy that the show's going in the direction it's in. Like the fact that we're getting more representation is brilliant, and it's something that needs to happen more. It also kind of leads this, considering I wanted to discuss Kenobi as well. I kind of like that it leads into this as well, in that it's getting. I mean, it's awful anyway, but it's getting tiring seeing people getting angry at shows just for having like a black character who's like such an integral part, like with Reaver in Kenobi and stuff like that.
Oh, that
really
was fucking horrible.
All that behaviour.
Yes.
And the amount of people you saw commenting on Shooty's announcement, being like, "Oh, Dr. Woke's back," blah, blah. It's fuck off, just fuck off.
If you don't want to watch the show, then don't fucking watch it.
Yeah.
Like we're not bothered.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think Shooty's going to be great. I'm interested to see what he does. I'm interested to see how Russell writes him, what companions if it's not Yasmin Finney, and I'm hyped for Doctor Who
new era,
when we've still got one of the old era left, and I still hope that's good. I hope the centenary gives everyone what they want out of it.
Yeah.
But
I hope it's
a nice cap off.
I'm gonna be disappointed if after everything like Chibnall can't at least nail his last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if he just ignores everything else and just makes it one good story.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, just do that. Like, you've got Tegan and Ace in it. Don't make them how Kate Stewart was in Flux. Like, I'm just going to stand in the shadows and not say anything.
No.
I hope he just wraps the story up, gives Jodie the send-off that she's not going to get the send-off she deserves, but, like, a decent send-off. And, you know, hopefully in 5 to 6 years' time, she'll come back and have a new writer, breathe a bit more life into her, have her and Yaz on their own. If she ever comes back into the specials, I like it to be that. Like them just before they met Dan, or with Dan.
Yeah, right, yeah.
John Bishop's been the
Yeah.
surprise, I think, of the series just gone. Like, I really have enjoyed him. He's the first companion in a while I felt like was a character. You kind of got to know him and what he's about. And, yeah, just I don't know. I'm excited, but I'm excited more for what comes after than
Of course.
the
I'm
immediate.
kind of gutted that
Everyone is.
we've literally missed by one episode the chance of Russell writing Jodie.
Yeah.
I feel like Russell would have done really good things with 13, but
I wouldn't be surprised if he'd have
Understands.
at least tried, because they all do. Like, Moffat nearly got David to stay. Chibnall apparently was quite close to getting Peter to stay, which would have been interesting. Series 11
Yeah, it would have
with,
been a good.
but then we would have got more Bill. So maybe.
yeah, that's kind of a double-edged sword then, because I love how Moffat wrote 12, so I don't know how I would have felt with Chibnall writing him, but then the idea of having Bill more is also really good, so yeah.
But yeah, a Jodie Russell episode would have been great. Maybe, you know, if his tenure goes on long enough, like if it goes on about 3 or 4 years, maybe she might think, "I'll go on then. I'll come back
Go
for
on
the
then."
65th anniversary,"
Yeah.
which would be nice. But I hope that everything wraps up, just like we wrap up this Doctor Who chat and briefly end with a bit of Kenobi. Because what did you think going into it compared to when you finished it?
So that again, sorry, you cut off slightly.
So what were your thoughts on Kenobi before you saw it going into the first episode, and then after seeing all 6?
Before he said hello, then when he said hello. Well, we should get
Before hello,
So-
and then there.
Going into it, I was apprehensive because I really liked Mandalorian, and I thought Book of Boba Fett was meh.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Mandalorian light. Isn't it, really?
I was not that big on Book of... It annoyed me that Book of Boba Fett was at its best when it was Mandalorian 2.5. Like,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
they might as well have just made that
Season 3, yeah.
Series 3 of Mandalorian and had Mandalorian have a full series, because Book of Boba Fett was not very good outside of those
No,
bits.
the overall story of it is kind of like, why does he want to be a protector of this town on Tatooine? Why does he suddenly care
Yeah.
about
Why
this?
is he Bob the Hutt? Yeah.
It also kind of annoys me that, and this is just a personal thing that annoys me, maybe other people don't care, but like, why would you hide, or why would you put such important plot developments of the Mandalorian story in a
another
completely
series,
different
yeah.
series that some
Yeah.
people might not have chosen to watch?
Yes. Exactly.
No, I get that.
That really annoyed me, because like, I think everyone knew Grogu was going to choose the Mandalorian over training with Luke, but the fact that we don't get to see that in the Mandalorian is really annoying.
And it felt
because
quite
that's such an
soon to
integral
see
part
him
of
again.
That story, and yet for some reason it's just chucked in the middle of a completely different thing.
Yeah, Grogu didn't need to be in it, because I think the Grogu thing was quite soon after. But then
It
maybe
should've-
were they
ideally-
thinking, you know, if we get into season 3 of Mandalorian and Grogu's not in it,
People
are
won't watch
we
it.
losing a lot of the viewership of people that just love Grogu and Mando together?
The merchandise. Oh, think about the toys and
Yeah,
merchandise.
it's weird. So I was quite apprehensive going into Kenobi. Honestly, by the end, I really liked it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think the first 2 episodes were good. The middle 2 were like, okay, slumping a little bit.
they happened.
Episode
yeah.
5 was brilliant. Episode 5 was really, really good. And then I don't know if episode 6 quite hit the heights of episode 5, but it was still great. It was a really good way to round off the mini-series. It was really good. So overall, I was very satisfied with it. Way more than I was with Book of Boba Fett. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kenobi finished, and I was like, okay, that was really good. I'm happy with what it was. I'm glad it didn't overstay its welcome. I did kind of find myself thinking, oh, maybe a couple of more episodes would have been nice, but for what it was, I think it was really good. And I personally really enjoyed Reva as a character, even if other people didn't.
I found it quite
Reva.
compelling.
Yeah.
I think going into it, the first one without Favreau and Filoni, there was a bit of apprehension there in terms of they've been very good for the universe and expanding it and bringing in old things back, adding new characters to the lore. And it was kind of like a back to the familiar in terms of this is a Kenobi story. This is a character we know, like inside and out, really. In terms of even if you just look at the prequels.
Yeah.
And it was rewritten like during production. Like originally, like we had Darth Maul and all that stuff, but then like it was too dark. And like you look at it, and they said like if you look at Obi-Wan's story, there's a history with Vader, but we've not seen that, so we do that. And I think that was. I think the right call, because I think it allowed Hayden Christensen to come back and be fucking amazing. Like even when he was just in the suit, I think the presence that he had in the way he held himself is different to I think any time we've seen Darth Vader,
especially in live action. Yeah.
The flashback stuff was some of the greatest thing, and it added context to not just that episode in terms of being the distraction ship to get away, but in terms of Anakin's overall character and how he was as a kid and how he still is now,
how he operates
as Darth Vader, and he's basically he was still the learner, and Obi-Wan is still the master, and I love how Obi-Wan sort of goes on a journey akin to Christopher Eccleston's Doctor, akin to Matt Smith in Series 7. Like he kind of finds himself again, and it's through like this amazing performance from young Leia.
Ewan McGregor was so good in that. I also was really surprised how not annoying young Leia was.
Yes, I think she was fabulous. I was surprised it wasn't going to be about Luke, because I thought that was the whole way it was angled.
Exactly, it was a Luke story, and then look, it's the other Skywalker. There is another,
and it added context to why she calls her son Ben, why her lightsaber has resemblance to Kenobi's. I think Ewan McGregor's just a fucking amazing human being, and the fact that he was across the show as an actor and a producer, and I think Moses Ingram, like you said, was great as Reva.
Yeah.
And I found that that made the Inquisitors human.
Right.
Like that kind of gave them a character.
It's nice to say she was basically, I guess. Would you say she was the main villain? I guess kind of.
Kind of in the end.
They were kind of both the main villain, really. But it was kind of nice that the villain arguably was more of the emotional core of the series. Like, because we had Kenobi finding himself, but the more emotional plot was hers, and sort of seeing why she's become who she is, and then sort of seeing just that moment in the last episode where she spared Luke and then broke down was like really well acted, and just kind of really showed who she was as a character, and that she could still be redeemed. It was really good. I really liked Kenobi.
It was really good. Like you say, the middle felt like it happened. I enjoyed them at the time, but in retrospect, it was just like 2 episodes. Which, again, as people pointed out, though, each episode was kind of like each film from the original saga, retrospectively. Like, episode 1's very much Phantom Menace-y, like Attack of the Clones, and so forth. Like, 1 through 6 very much had that pattern.
Yeah.
You can kind of see similarities in all those films and in each individual episode. And then, this story of Anakin, Obi-Wan and Vader, and things that I didn't think particularly needed addressing, or in my mind when I watched episode 4, and I was like, now I'm shooting that I am the master. It added context to so many nerdy little minor things which weren't going on in my head, but again they've just addressed it and made it flow more consistently now. Like even with the whole Ben thing, because I never quite understood Ben Solo, because I mean she never met Obi-Wan. Why would she get the name Ben? But of course through this she knew Ben. And the hologram that helped me Obi-Wan, we all know that's basically a lie. She knew who Ben Kenobi Obi-Wan was the whole time. It's just little things like that where, like Rogue One, it feels like this thing was created just to address one issue, but really it wasn't an issue. It wasn't a thing that I was thinking of. It's addressed so many little minor moments. And when I eventually will rewatch the whole saga, it'll just be like, that was a nice detail.
It's something now that I would, if I was rewatching the films, I would definitely stop to rewatch this between 3 and 4.
Yeah. Can I just say, just because you mentioned it, Rogue One is fucking brilliant. I love Rogue One.
Yeah.
I mean, whoever the director was that came in and fixed it on the reshoots, like, hats off to him, because whatever Gareth Edwards,
Edwards,
whatever was going on. I like Solo as well. Like, a lot of people don't.
I need to rewatch it.
Chill with it, but I really.
It was fine. It was fine. It was enjoyable.
Yeah, I remember it being.
I enjoy Alden Ehrenreich. I think he's a-okay. I think Rise of Skywalker's still a big pile of shit. But
wish it never fucking happened, but yeah.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Force Awakens was fine. I actually really liked The Last Jedi.
Yes!
Rise of Skywalker was shit.
The Last Jedi is probably, I'd say, top 3 Star Wars movies.
Agree. Yeah. Empire Strikes Back, Rogue One, Last Jedi.
I'd say New Hope and then Rogue One around like 5 or 4.
I die on the hill that I think Rogue One is phenomenal, but
it's great in terms of like how it improves New Hope, like with Kenobi has. Like but yeah, I think the shows are what Disney is doing best with Star Wars, not the movies. We'll see when the Taika movie comes out and the Rian Johnson trilogy finally does and all that stuff.
I can't wait for Ahsoka because she's such a good character. I can't wait for that series.
More Hayden Christensen.
While we're on the Rogue One thing, what's your thoughts about Andor? What's your feelings on Andor? Or the Andor series coming out, I think this summer. I think that's the next thing coming out.
End of August, isn't it?
Is it? I can't remember what the timeline is.
What the timeline of it being released? I'm sure it's this August, like this year.
I think it's the end of August, maybe September. Yeah. I've seen it.
It's soon. It's sooner than we think.
I'm not bothered because I know how he dies.
It is August, yeah. I mean, I'm happy about that.
It's your ride and die. I'm just saying, I think Andor might have been your fate. It's something that me and George, we've said previously, it's one that I'm particularly not bothered about because we already know the fate of the main character. So I don't see
whenever
how
he's in danger, it's going to be
expand.
like, well, no, because he dies on Scarif. So
it takes away sense of risk because we know he's going to live and do another movie. Which
yeah,
we love.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm still happy to see more of him though. I did like him as a character. I just looked it up because I was like, wait. Was this coming out next? And yeah, it is August. But apparently they've already confirmed that there's going to be a second series of it as well.
Wow.
So I'm like, okay.
Would you take a second season of Kenobi? I think it's fine as an event, but if there's a story there's still 9 years before the trilogy starts.
If there's a story there, yes. But I wouldn't want them to do another one just for the sake of it.
No. Yeah, not Vader and the Empire, not with Darth Maul, because we already had a brilliant send-off in Rebels. So something new and original that we haven't yet thought about can be the premise for Season 2. Or Obi-Wan 2, or whatever it's called.
And maybe that ties into the Darth Maul stuff before he comes and like it's him dealing with Crimson Dawn or whatever it is. I don't know.
Like the
I know
series.
it would be impossible because we watched him die, but just because I'm a massive fan of the character, I would love to see if, as a plot for a second season of Kenobi, I'd love to see General Grievous trying to assassinate him as like, if like by some fucking miracle. General
we don't have
the
computer.
3. I'd love to have a story of him like just wanting a personal vendetta against Kenobi. That'd be really cool. Just because I love Grievous, I think he's my favourite Star Wars villain.
He's not a human. He hasn't got a heart. He's spare parts. Someone's got eBay in the Star Wars universe. I mean, they could buy Grievous. And
maybe one of the Jawas has him. And
they can build him.
Builds him back like like Uncle Owen builds him and sets him loose on Tatooine by accident.
Oh, I'd love that. I'd love to have Grievous back just because I love him as a character. I think he's so fun and just.
No,
I know it sounds so childish, but I just think he's cool. He's a really cool character.
Yeah. Idea. He's got some, and then if he did Hello There in that season. Full circle.
Hello there,
General Kenobi.
Oh my god! Grievous says it to him.
Yeah,
Grievous says hello there to Obi-Wan, and then Obi-Wan's like, General Grievous.
You bastard. Get off my sand planet, will you?
That'd be worth it just for that alone. But no, I'm very excited for Mandalorian Season 3. I think will be good. I'm kind of glad it's the last series, just because I don't know how much more they're going to get out of the story.
Well, they've said this. Sorry, they've said.
I think they've confirmed Series 3 is the last one.
Really? Oh.
I think so.
Didn't know that.
And then I love Ahsoka, so I'm really excited for hers. I just hope it's good.
Just a wild thing that may or may not happen because a certain actor sort of expressed interest in the form of Samuel L. Jackson. Mace Windu for you? Could he fit in whatever's going on with Disney Plus somewhere? Would you like to see him come back?
I mean, I'd love to see Samuel L. Jackson back as Mace Windu. If they could fit him in
somehow.
One thing, and this is one of the reasons I didn't give the Andor series much thought, is just because, like, one thing I don't want them to do, and I feel like they're going to, is I don't want them to oversaturate everything. I don't want them to give every single side character their own plot. Like, Ahsoka getting a series makes sense because she's a big character. Obi-Wan getting his own makes sense. Boba Fett, like, in terms of what he does in the films, he's not really that big in a character.
He gets killed by a blind man.
Given the sort of staying power he has in the fandom, it made sense they gave him a series. And Mandalorian's kind of its own thing, but I'm worried that they're going to start giving every single side character their own show. Like, we're going to get, as much as I love her, we're going to get a series for that droid that Phoebe Waller-Bridge played in Solo, and it's like, well, why?
Kit Fisto, the Green Jedi.
And I'm
played by Taika Waititi.
Do you know who I wouldn't be surprised with, because they were the stand-in in the concept art for Luke Skywalker, and the love that Dave Filoni clearly has for Plo Koon. Like, I'm surprised we've not seen him yet.
I was just thinking, can you imagine a series of Ki-Adi-Mundi, Plo Koon, and Kit Fisto having their own sort of
like The Hangover? Like, you make the Hangover movie, but with those three.
In the Mos Eisley Cantina. In the Mos Eisley Cantina, getting drunk.
There you go. You've heard it here first.
It's actually a comedy. The Mos Eisley Cantina is their version of Central Perk.
It's like Friends, but with more tentacles and kissing.
More tentacles.
Oh my god! Yeah, it's Kit Fitz. Is it Fisto or Fitz? I always forget.
Fisto.
I always forget which way it is. It's Kit Fisto, Plo Koon, Ki-Adi-Mundi, Shaq T, Ayla Sakura.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we need one more, and then we've got like,
Yaddle from the canon. Yaddle.
Uriel Poof.
Yes.
Just have the six together living. Just do a reboot of Friends just with these characters.
Oh god, in space.
And I think that's
is
where it will turn over to you, the audience, to write the pilot for this, and we'll act it out
Mos Eisley
on the next episode of We Pay for Your Floor.
I bag playing Shakti.
I want to be Yaddle. I'll put the wig on, but I have to voice her like Kylie.
Connor, how would you feel about playing one of the bulbous head guys with the clarinet in the band?
The Biffs, one of the
What are they called? Like, what's the band called?
I can't remember.
It's like Cum or something. Like,
what?
Can we have Phil cameo as Cy Snootles?
Oh, of course, the star of the show, the secret antagonist.
Cy Snootles, the villain of Force Friends.
No, is it Smeg the band's called? He's trying to ruin Smeg's career. Like, he's their tour manager and he's really angry. It's Rocket Man, but with more penis alien heads. I don't know.
Rocket Man, but with more hentai.
Yes.
Yeah, more hentai.
Hentai Man. And I think it's going to be a long episode.
Jesus.
Of this was fun. Thank you so much for helping us celebrate another birthday, Andy. It's always a pleasure.
You're welcome. I genuinely came into this thinking, what are we going to talk about? I don't want it to just be Doctor Who all over again. And then we just talked about Doctor Who for 2 hours and then sprinkled in some other nerdy stuff.
It happens, and in the best possible way, we ended with some weird Friends
fanfiction,
fucking hentai tentacle porn orgy TV show on Disney Plus,
starring Plo Koon as the one getting fucked by all the tentacles.
Plo Koon, more like Plow Koon. Plow Poon. There it is.
Oh no!
And that's where we.
Oh my god! Plow Koon, Kit Fisting. Cunt No, that doesn't really work.
Shaq Titties.
Ki-Adi Minji. There we go.
And that is where I think we should stop before we continue porn naming everyone in the Star Wars universe.
Jesus.
Qui-Gon Minge.
Anal Sakura.
Yeah.
Ahsoka Tartis. Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Mace. Mace. Oh, fuck it. I don't know. Run out.
Yeah, I was trying to think of one for that. I can't think of anything.
Count.
Mace no window.
It doesn't
Count
fully
Nookie.
fit, but Mace Cunnilingu.
Oh, that's not bad.
Mace no window.
Darth Insidious. I don't know. It's been a pleasure to have you. If you've not checked out We Pay For Your Floor, the Andy and Phil host, please check it out.
I'll be paying for your floor.
Make all weird sexual Star Wars comments on
Luke Skywanker.
Luke Skywalker.
Han Solo.
Hand
Anyway.
Solo.
If there's anything else you
this
want to
is so
plug,
fun.
Andy, go for it. Yeah, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much, everyone. Sorry this is such a slog. We got talking about Doctor Who, and as we predicted, it turned into just a massive discussion. But thank you for watching. Please do come check out We Pay For Your Floor. It's normally weekly. We're just on a bit of a break because we had audio issues, but usually we post every Tuesday. The reason we post every Tuesday is just based on a joke that we have, because nothing good happens on a Tuesday.
Really?
It does now, because your podcast is out.
So that's why we post every Tuesday, because nothing good happens then. We post every Tuesday. It goes up 7 p.m. UK time. We will be back soon. We're recording more this weekend. It's just taken time to be able to get all three of us together because of work schedules. But we are recording more. Right now, we're partway through Series 2. You don't need to watch them in order. There's no continuity. It's just complete madness. If you want to hear about the tales of the Toys R Us giraffe who became a prostitute, that's a thing that happened. He's called Jeffrey the Prostitute Giraffe. He was found in Portsmouth car park. You can find out what he's been getting up to. You can find out why I nearly said it then. How Bruce Willis became a tennis tournament. What else can you find out? You can find out about Wanky Leonard. There we go. You need to watch We Pay For Your Floor. There's too many in-jokes to explain. But yes, thank you very much for having me, guys. It's been a delight. This was really fun. It doesn't feel like we've been chatting for 3 hours.
No, it just
really,
flies
but
by.
yeah, this is so fun. Thank you very much. I hope I can be on again soon, and we need to have you two on We Pay For Your Floor because it'll be really fun.
Definitely.
And you have a very similar sense of humour to me, so I feel like you'll just slot right in.
Right, we'll definitely make that happen, whether it's both of us or you want us separately or whatever. And we'd like to have you on again, maybe depending, like if the Russell era starts at the end of the year, maybe we'll have to have you on for a Jodie retrospective and stuff like that. We'll have to definitely have you on before Christmas. I think that's kind of...
Yeah, that'd be really fun. It'd be really fun. There's like a Doctor Who retrospective to have like us three, Will and Mike on. If that would be possible, that'd be really cool.
We'll have to try and get that together, because I think we can just depress Will by saying, Matt Smith's shit. Matt Smith's shit, and he's not coming back.
He ain't got a career.
Jodie Whittaker's better than Matt. No, but yeah, we'll definitely sort that out. Obviously, we'd love to be on your podcast, because I think we'd have to come up with. We'd have to probably pre-plan some jokes. The amount you guys come up with, so we'll have to.
Just you don't have to pre-plan, because we literally just come up with everything on the fly. It's ridiculous, the stuff that comes out of our mouths. Let me just take you through the journey before we sign off. Let me take you through the journey of some of the titles
the
of our episodes, because some of them are ridiculous. I'm just gonna go through my favourites. Don't Make Me the P Power Ranger. That was the name of episode 3. Barren and Childless Like My Crisps. One of my absolute favourite titles we've done. These are all things that were said in the episodes as well. Is Anyone Vaginese? How great would Moses be as a lifeguard? Have you ever been horny in a French cottage? Uncle Willem's birthday surprise. That was Phil's birthday special. I can't remember if you see it in the episode, but for his 30th, I printed out just a fuck ton of photos of Willem Dafoe and just plastered the flat in them. Because he likes Willem Dafoe, so I just plastered his face everywhere. Sausages Can't Swim, my new personal favourite. Imagine going to school knowing your school shagged a squid.
Okay, yep, that's sold me. Yep, that's sold me.
Sticking with Fanny Blood, can you imagine a blowjob from a giraffe? You know the green sheen you get on bacon, and then not because it's particularly funny, just because it sums up just the ridiculousness of the episode. Episode 30 is just called Absolute Nonsense because we couldn't even think of a title.
Absolute
so
nonsense.
much stupid stuff happened. But yeah, check out We Pay For Your Floor if any of that ridiculousness sounds fun. We have a lot of fun doing it. It's incredibly entertaining if just for us to let out all of our ridiculousness and just vent it, keep it, and then act somewhat sane in the normal world.
No, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
It is great. Please go check it out. If not just for the titles alone, it's been a pleasure to be joined by Andy, and as Connor turned up as well. So that's double bubble.
bonus.
That's great.
Yeah, thanks. Cheers, mate.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
That's right, Connor. Sign off. Where can people get in contact with us? I mean,
email-
no one emails. So what's the point?
No, no one emails. Where is my email at nerdbubblecontent.com?
And at Pasty Sheep across Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and there's a TikTok account, but there's no behind the scenes stuff on there yet. So it's just so we have the username. Really,
we need to get a proper cream screen first, and then we
cream screen. What the fuck?
title cream
screen. I think maybe that'll one of the weird Star Wars sex names. I don't know. We'll see what the title is. Thanks as always, guys, for listening, watching, consuming us in some kind of fucking form. But we'll be back again next week as we start the next 4 years of this bullshit. Really.
Yeah. But
just just come back when Andy comes back. We'll let you know. Thanks everyone. Bye bye.
Thank you so much for having me on. Sorry, I'm looking weird because I'm trying to look over my Switch